Hey guys, this is Paige Pierce. I'm here for Physics of Flight, and today I'm going to talk to you about maximum distance. Now, what I'm doing when I'm throwing max distance is I'm throwing a really overstable long-range disc that's fast, so my Ballista Pros, on a nice angle like this. I'm putting the disc really high in the air, but to make up for that height, I have to make sure I turn my wrist and I put a lot of snap on it. The reason I'm doing so is so I get the full flight. You guys hear a lot of people saying full flight or S-shot or stuff like this. This is how the disc flies the furthest, is when you throw something overstable on a super turned angle and it pans as long as it can, but it still has enough time to get its full flight back out to the left. So if you don't get it high enough, after you get that initial turn, it's gonna hit the ground. This is why you have to get it high enough so it has time to correct itself in the air and finish out to the left. For me, I'm aiming really far at the left side of the fairway on that angle, so I have the entire middle and right side of the fairway to make the disc stretch before it comes back to the left. So one thing that's really important when you're throwing for max distance is the wind. What is it doing? You need to know this because it's going to change the angle or the disc choice or where you're aiming. Some of them are going to help you. Some of them are going to make it harder. Neither of these mean that you should or shouldn't do it. It's just something you have to think and adapt to. If it's a tailwind, it's going to make the disc fly further. It's going to push it. So absolutely, let's go for max distance. If it's wide open and there's a tailwind, absolutely I will. If there's a headwind, it's gonna try to push the disc backwards and to flip it. So when this happens, it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, I can't go for max distance, but it does mean I have to adjust for that. So I can't put it quite as high. So I'm gonna throw more of a flatter, lower release, but I'm still gonna have that angle. It's just not gonna be as exaggerated. If it's ever pushing from right to left, I'm gonna have to put a little bit more of an angle on it than I think. And if it's pushing from left to right, I'm not gonna be able to put as much angle as I think, or else I'm gonna get an accidental roller. So make sure you test the wind before you throw this shot, but I would say the most effective way to throw max distance is from a slight tailwind or no wind at all. So when you're looking for max distance, make sure to account for all these things, and thank you guys for watching.
Whoa, got a big order going out today, huh?
I sure do.
Nice. Hey, Danny, what you working on?
Just a new website. It's looking pretty good.
Nice.
I finally got the baby to sleep.
Nice. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answerman. Damon asks about discs. I am recently
Yep. How do you spell that?
I was recently practicing putting and included my 2 West Side harps into the stack to get more repetitions in. I really enjoyed putting with these discs over my standard putters, which are P2s.
Great.
Because they felt better in my hand. My question is there anything wrong with putting with a Speed 4 disc? Or could you suggest a more traditional putting putter that feels similar and maybe less overstable?
Suspect. As far as feel goes, and it's a little less overstable.
Right.
It's not really.
Is the harp a putt-in approach?
Yeah.
It is. It says Speed 4, but let's get real for a second. The rim on a harp is very similar to all the 3 speed widths.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think just because it says Speed 4 on there doesn't mean you couldn't.
No, we used
or
the
shouldn't putt
speedometer
with
on it, and it said 4. So.
Oh man. Okay. Well, yeah, that's why we put that on there. I think if a disc works for you, use that disc.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It
Does the
doesn't
harp
matter
comes
if
in
it.
base plastic, right?
Oh yeah,
It comes
in a lot of
majority
base
of the
plastics.
plastics.
But if you're looking for something that has a similar feel but not as overstable, gosh, you're not going to find much that's kind of like pretty squared on the edge like a harp that is more understable. The only thing I could think is like, a crown is less overstable than a harp.
I was thinking a pure too would be.
Yeah, I mean it's
a little more round. That's why I said suspect, because it is more of a square edge. It may be more difficult finding a suspect in base plastic, but
yep.
just go with the harp. It feels good in the hand.
Try it
If
out.
it's working well and you're jamming, who cares?
Who cares?
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me how close I am to the nearest gas station?
Yeah, it's about a par 4 down Lincoln Street.
Pardon me, what?
Well, most people say it's a par 5, but I've played a lot of disc golf.
Never mind. Thanks.
Oakley has absolutely put the perfect angle on this. Just needs a skip. Just needs an ace. Oh my goodness, almost runs it in the basket. You'll love to see it. Dude, I'm top 2 in the bag with Erik Oakley here. I'll guide this real quick while we're waiting for Paige to get back. So
He
we
looks
got
kind of like me, so this is actually mine in the back.
Yeah, so hey, what's up guys? It's me, Erik Oakley. I throw hard, I got a good forehand, so check it out, okay? So we got a couple EMAC truths here, good for like throwing forehands and throwing really hard. Then we got Felon, this one's cool. Then we got a Raider. I really like the Raider. I wish it was in Lucid, and I'll get it sometime. So that's just me, Erik Oakley. And then we got some Enforcers. But yeah, so we got a Justice here. Then some more Felons, and then in the sides we got some Felons, and yeah. So this has been me, Erik Oakley. Thank you for joining me for this TED Talk. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I think if we leave Yeah, I'm gonna have to call you back.
Why isn't anybody working?
We're on a 30-minute weather delay. Lots of lightning.
Of course.
Looks like more lightning. Another 30 minutes.
Hello everyone, my name is Austin Hannum, and this is what's in my bag for the 2019 season. I'm gonna go ahead and go putters, mid-ranges, fairways, and then the high-speed drivers. So I'm gonna start with my putting putters. I got 2 putting putters. I chose the Jawbreaker Challenger SS's. I just like these because they're super glidey. They're beadless, and they're just really comfortable to me. So yeah, that's just kind of, I go off the feel. Next up, we got a magnet, very old. I don't even know how old this disc is, but this is for more of like if I get in the woods, I'll be throwing this a lot, and kind of longer jump putts. If there's no wind, I like to kind of just spin this towards the basket and try to put it in. And then we got 2 zones. I got 1 ESP zone and 1 Jawbreaker. This disc is probably one of my favorites in the Discraft lineup. I like to throw a lot of sidearms with this disc, the ESP one. Backhands, I usually like the Jawbreaker. I want to throw it hard and with a little hyzer, and it'll just pop up flat and go really straight for me. So definitely check out the zone. That's all for my putters. Right now I got 4 mid-ranges in the bag. Start off with the Z Buzz. The Buzz is definitely my favorite mid-range I've ever thrown. Buzzes are just super straight, and they go wherever you throw them, whatever angle you put them on. That's, yeah. And then I got the first run Buzz. This disc is awesome. It actually took the place of the Comet because it's just so old and beat up. I throw it flat and it just kind of holds over, and it's just perfect for what I need it for. Third is this Ace Race Archer. This is another one that's going to be really good in the woods. I really like to use it for jump putts from like 100 feet. Like to jump putt the Archer and just kind of spin it again towards the basket. And then lastly is this Big Z drone. The drone is definitely an awesome disc. This hasn't been in my bag for 6 years. Definitely a very special disc to me. It'll probably be in my bag for a very long time. Next, I'll go with my fairway drivers. We got 5 of them. Start out with the Raptor. This disc is awesome for sidearms. I don't really backhand it a whole lot. But yeah, it's not very deep, so it's just a very good feel in the hand for the sidearm. It's real stable. I like to maneuver it through like the woods and stuff too. Next is the Predator. This is probably my favorite fairway driver. I like to throw, this thing is very stable. I like to throw it flat with a little anhyzer. I like to get it kind of high too, so just let it work its flight really good. But yeah, you definitely check out the Z Predator. Next up is the Big Z Vulture. This disc is really good for just like throwing them kind of really hard on hyzer, and it'll just get up and just have a consistent straight flight. And then it'll obviously finish left. Next is the Glow Stalker. This is kind of just like a longer buzz for me. Very straight with a little finish to the right. I won't be throwing this much out here in Arizona, but this is definitely a very good disc later on in the season when we get to the woods. And then also the Undertaker. This disc is pretty similar to the Stalker. It's a little more stable for me. I don't know if it's the plastics or whatever, but I like to throw this disc on some hyzer and it'll come up flat for a while, and then it'll just finish left at the very end. So this is a pretty good disc. All right, lastly, we're gonna get into the distance drivers. I have 5 of these. I have 4 Forces. First up is the Nuke OS, though. This disc has been awesome for me early in the season. It's been a little windy, so I mainly use this for the sidearms. I like to throw them really low with a little anhyzer and just watch them do its thing. Very stable. Would highly recommend to have one of these in the bag. Next up is the Z-Force. This is one of the very early runs of the Force. Very pop top and very, very stable. I like to throw this disc really hard with a little anhyzer and just let it pan out and land with hyzer. Next up is a Z-Force. This one's interesting. It's got the Eric McCabe stamp on it. I believe it was his disc, but this disc is perfect for this is my sidearm disc. I like to throw it really low with a little anhyzer to flat, and it will always finish to the right. So this disc is one of my main go-to drivers for sidearms. Next up is a Z-Force. It's a newer run of the Z-Force. It's got like a really pearly bottom here. Very overstable. This disc will be used a lot for just hyzers and just flat shots that need to finish left. Now, lastly is the ESP Force. This is my go-to for distance shots, for sidearm and backhand. Like to throw it flat and just let it turn, and it always finishes left. But yeah, this is my go-to for my distance shots. And that is all that's in my bag. If you would like to check out any of these discs, go to discraft.com. If you have any questions and see me on the course, then yeah, come up and ask. Thank you.
This is the first run IPA.
Come visit us in Bend. You'll get fresh beer, you'll get some hospitality, and I guarantee you'll either see Val, Justin, or I.
As fresh as you can get it, right here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to round number 2 of the 2019 Portland Open. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, alongside 4-time women's world champion Valerie Jenkins. Val, you're back, and of course you have another smile on your face, as we would expect. It's Sunday, but we're not quite concluding the tournament.
Right.
How weird does that feel?
It's weird, but we have 2 more rounds to go with the FPO division. And why wouldn't I smile? I'm sitting next to Tear Bear. I mean, one of the greatest disc golf commentators. So we're going to have a fun weekend. I already see the sun is shining. We did get through the round yesterday with no rain, but I know it dumped on the men in the afternoon. But looks like it's going to be a much better day today, about 20 degrees warmer So that's a good start.
It is. And like you said, the sun is shining. We see it outside. They're just 2 miles away from us out at the course right now. It looks like we're going to get going in just a few moments. Paige Pierce, Catrina Allen, all knotted up. They are 5 under par, and they've separated themselves just a little bit from the rest of the field in the early goings. Also joining the card, Lisa Fajkus and our current women's world champion, Paige Bjerkaas, as they sit at even. So some great competition out there today. I think we're live and ready to go on hole number 1.
By the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We'd like to welcome the feature card of the Women's Pro Open at 9 a.m., starting with Paige Pierce.
Thank you.
Hole 1, it's 355 feet, par 3, low ceiling. So they're really going to have to punch it up the gut to park it.
And I love the angle here by Paige, but it looks like it got caught up. It didn't get quite a skip. But we see with things so lush out there, that'll play in as the rest of the drives come in on this hole and the rest of the course. And looks like Catrina's maybe overcompensated, worried about those overhanging branches, and low and in the ground on the first tee shot here. Here's Lisa Fajkus, who hails from Texas. And Lisa has a very smooth and low release. That's also going to help her on these low tunnel shots.
And last but not least, world champion Paige Bjerkaas. She's a fast one. And that is the best height of the group. Let's see if it can work its way back. She's going to have a bit of a tester. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Let Dynamic Discs help distinguish the winners at your next event. We've got many options, from a mini disc to a full-size disc, and we can do custom-wrapped baskets from the micro recruit all the way up to a veteran. We can help design your trophies, and we have discounted prices on larger orders. Our designs feature sharp graphics and vibrant colors. We have what it takes to set your event's winners apart, from their bags to their backyards. Learn all the ways we can help at dynamicdiscs.com.
Catrina has the longest approach of the group, but that'll be easy tap in 3.
Now, that was a good save. I mean, on the beginning, on the start of the tournament, on the start of this whole, I can't spit out my words just yet. I haven't
Early goings. We'll call it the early goings.
I haven't had enough coffee, I don't think. But yeah, you do not want to start out with a bogey and a little bit of a rough drive, but able to save herself. Paige going for it. We saw Paige hitting some big putts in San Francisco. Let's see if she can keep that going. You know, Paige Bjerkaas is just behind that tree. Let's see if we can get a. Oh, Lisa Fajkus.
Yep, looks like
Here
we're
we go.
gonna have Lisa first. And Lisa, and I know yesterday I talked a lot in the men's round about how impressed I am with Reed Frasquira's long range, his circle 2 and even outside circle 2 putting. And I think we could say the same of Lisa Fajkus. She has such an incredible jump putt, and when she gets dialed in on her putting, I don't think there's another pro woman that's more exciting to watch from long range than Lisa Fajkus. So we'll see if that may pick up, or if she even needs it today. But great to see Lisa on the coverage. She hasn't had quite the year that I think probably even she expected moving into this 2019 season. We'll see if that changes this weekend.
This is the first run IPA.
Come visit us in Bend. You'll get fresh beer. You'll get some hospitality, and I guarantee you'll either see Val, Justin, or I.
Fresh as you can get it, right here.
And as the And just as the group was tapping out, we were trying to also make sure we could get in position. We might be able to give you a few extra shots from around the course today. A moment ago, you saw Rebecca Cox throwing her approach shot. And then also off in the distance, we see Vanessa Van Dyken. So as we move throughout this course, and here's Vanessa, we'll do our best to give you a little extra action. And we're glad that you guys are along for the ride. It's Sunday here in Portland, so please go out, like and share. Let everyone know you're watching live disc golf. There's a little button at the bottom of your YouTube stream, and if you just click on that, you can share it to any of your favorite social media. We're going to head over to hole 2 in just a moment as they're getting ready. I believe they're all taking the scores. Everyone had the 3 on the first hole.
And this gives you a really nice view of hole 3. So as we make our way back to the lead card, this is what we've got ahead of us. There's so many technical shots out on this course. Par 66. Starting off, though, these holes aren't too difficult, but it really starts to warm you up as you get into the middle of the course. Hole 2, 425 feet. Paige is choosing the up the gut shot. Really needs that to carry, and she's Paige Pierce. She's got the distance. We might see players choosing to go around the trees, more of an Anheuser shot, but we saw Catrina Allen throwing this shot yesterday. I'm thinking she's busting out the roller again.
She is, and this is dangerous because she needs to make sure that it stands up with the OB on the left. It definitely is flippy enough, so it's done just that and curled around, and really a great shot there by Catrina Allen. Not quite the distance that we saw from Pierce, but I love the really aggressive play there by Allen.
You can see on the right-hand side, there's the road, but there is a wall that's kind of blockading those roller shots from going out of bounds. But it doesn't start for another 200 feet off of the tee pad. Lisa choosing the right-hand route.
Wow, and great distance there as well for a shot that was pretty straight and just had a little bit of a finish to it. And Paige Bjerkaas, our cameramen are going to even have to adjust and be ready to go because she steps up and throws it quickly. Let's throw it to this commercial break. And Paige Bjerkaas, without hesitation, just nestling it right up underneath the basket.
This is always a fun game playing with the cameramen and commercial breaks. We got to make sure we catch all of Paige's shots. So we've been following her around throughout the whole Disc Golf Pro Tour, and we know she's a fast player. So we're going to try and catch all her shots today, and that would be success.
Yeah, it would. Exactly. We have a few new camera crew members out there. And so, just kind of get acclimated to her pace of play is a task in itself. Looks like her fiance, Grady Shue, was out on the bag for her this morning. This is Lisa. Lisa, so smooth and so consistent. Again, I can't say enough about her mid-range game. Of course, I think she's very versed in a lot of aspects of her game, but her mid-range and her long jump putt game is just so exciting to watch.
So we can see Catrina Allen well outside circle 1. So this is going to be a big jump putt. This would be for birdie.
Trying to will it in, but she's just behind the basket. A really good run, nice and aggressive, giving it a chance.
Let's see. Did Paige finish inside the circle? Yeah.
Yeah, she
That's
got
a
a great
crush.
drive. And somewhat quick. That's interesting. That's the first long putt we've seen her attempt, and I felt like she stepped up and really just got right to it. She usually takes a little bit more time. I saw her make a post on the Facebooks that let everyone know she felt like some of her putting woes were behind her, and she said that she had a really good day out on the course with her putt, and maybe that's part of her new routine is to go a little bit quicker. And she doesn't convert on the birdie, but easy drop-in par.
Yeah, it didn't even give me enough time to talk about how big of a drive that was. That was well over 400 feet. So we are moving on to hole 3. It's a par 4, 550 feet. So the first drive that you're going to throw starts out shooting through this gap, a little bit of a low ceiling, and we're going to round this corner. It's a bit of a dog leg. So this is where we saw Rebecca Cox and Vanessa Van Dyken landing right around here. This gives you a straight shot down the tunnel for your up shot. It's a little bit tricky. We see low branches hanging down here. You have to do a complete S turn on your up shot. And there's OB just surrounding the basket on all sides. So this is just a tricky up shot. I think if you get your drive in the position, really let you know if you can go for it or not. So everybody has just been parring along these first 2 holes. Let's see if a little action can start up on hole 3.
And this is a good-looking drive. Maybe a bit tight, but no, she's going to stay clear of the OB. And it's not a bad position there for Paige Pierce.
We saw Catrina going really tight and high. Let's see if she goes as aggressive. Got to make that corner. And that was a huge drive.
Yeah, I think we're going to find her within a few feet of Paige Pierce, but yet, like you said, went with that higher line. And yesterday, making a great adjustment from yesterday's shot where she kept it too tight and then found herself in that left OB.
This is a tough distance on this drive. It's not a full out crush because you could throw past the opening. Wow, Lisa got lucky there on the right-hand side. She should be looking good, but she might be just past that tunnel as I was just talking about.
And Bjerkaas is going to flirt with that tree on the right and gets around it. And similar result to Lisa Fajkus. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Valerie Jenkins. And Val, yesterday we saw our competitors on the FPO side just kind of maintain. They started a little bit slow. There were no fireworks really in the first few holes. And as of right now, you just mentioned, we've seen in 8 opportunities, we've seen 8 pars. So really, no one's getting off to a rough start, but no one with any attacking or movement at the moment either.
Not yet. The first 2 holes are a little bit out of range to capitalize on those birdies, but as we get into the middle of the course, that's where we saw players like Paige Pierce. We saw even yesterday Missy Gannon stringing up a bunch of birdies in the middle of the course. So we're getting into it, Terry. Just hold on. But this is great, and thank you to the Disc Golf Pro Tour for providing live coverage. There's nothing better than live coverage.
Well, we love bringing it to you here and at the moment. Of course, we also love all of our post-production companies out there doing hard work, working those tireless hours throughout the night. But if you want the action here and now, we're glad you can join us. We want to, of course, also thank Dynamic Disc, who is a supporting partner for this weekend's live coverage, for helping provide it on YouTube. And then we have our presenting sponsors in the event, Bevel, your company, Val. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I don't think it's 5 o'clock somewhere yet, but we'll talk. Maybe it is. We'll talk about Bevel and also your other additional sponsor in Discraft. So thank you to all of them. As Paige is lining up her second shot, and we'll see what route she's going. Does this look like she maybe is taking the? Is Paige laying up, or is she going for this hyzer shot out and around the bush?
Yeah, she's a little bit past that tunnel that we saw the drone fly through. Oh no. Did that kick through? She would have to clear. That was just a strange window. I mean, it looked so congested in the window that she was aiming for. And that's not going to be a good spot to take her next shot from. So, interesting play. We're going to see Catrina Allen going up the tunnel.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I was just going to say, sorry to interrupt. I was just going to ask, I wonder if she's going to try and lay up short of the mouth, or is she going to try and punch it through the tunnel and get all the way to the basket? I feel like you need to be fully committed, and she's lining up for what looks to be a full-out throw here. I believe this is an MD4 possibly.
And so that was the layup, Terry.
What do I know?
She did look fully committed to that, but it's a trick shot that you have to throw, and you have to trust your disc to fly out that complete S shot. So I think that's a good play. It's a par 4. If you're not in the perfect position, the head-on position looking at the basket, I think a layup is a good play. So also going with the layup, Paige Bjerkaas. So you've really just set yourself up for a nice, easy hyzer upshot toward the basket. It's just so daunting when you have out of bounds completely circling it and creeping in.
A little bit short there for Lisa, leaving herself maybe a 15 or 18 footer.
We're going to move over in a second, and yep, looks like Paige was out of bounds. Hopefully she'll be able to find a more clear window now, but don't need those strokes to be adding up like that.
Yeah, she's pushed up against the OB line for her. You know that one on the bag, so to speak, or in this case on the cart for Paige. She often has a caddy of sorts, as she just about goes OB on that shot as well. But kind of interesting to note that no caddy here this morning. Somewhat unusual.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest caddy jobs, and all you have to do is roll a cart. So here's Catrina Allen after her upshot, just laying it underneath the basket. That's going to be an easy textbook par. Yeah, Paige and Kat, they were tied going into this round. They're tied right now, but this hole is going to change things up a little bit. We saw Paige miss a putt on the hole previous. Paige needs to get back on the horse here. It's still early in the round, but she needs to get a little bit more commitment in her shots. And even this one, she's leaving herself a bit of a tester.
Oh, and Pierce, again, seems like a little bit of a quicker routine for her. And I'm not second guessing that it is in fact quicker. It's just interesting to note that it is, because I've seen her putt quite a few times over the years, and it just seems like that's a slightly different approach for her. We'll see how that plays out throughout the rest of the round. Here's Lisa from 18 feet, and right in the middle of the chains.
This will be saving par.
Hi guys, I'm Alyssa Van Lannen. You've probably seen me hiding in front of the tee pad or laying in the bushes trying to get the best shot. For the best moments in disc golf on and off the course through my photos and videos, check out patreon.com/Alyssa Van Lannen.
And a moment ago, we saw some of the hot scores that are coming in. Erica Stinchcomb is sitting at 2 under for the round, and therefore is one of the hottest scores on the early goings here of round number 2, as Catrina taps in for her par. Val, they got a short walk. We're going to move over to relatively short hole 4. What's the plan?
Hole 4, par 3, 295 feet. Looks relatively easy. There is out of bounds on the left and the right and circling the basket. This one is a must-get birdie, but because of that, it really forces players to throw that aggressive line. And as we move up toward the basket, we're going to see the trees really coming in and circling the basket. So we have the trees on the right and the left. So if you end up there, it could make the putts a little bit more difficult. So you just want to park it. I mean, it's just that easy, Terry.
It is. We saw Vanessa Van Dyken go with that approach, as if she was listening to your great advice.
It's always a good game plan.
It is.
Park it.
As it does funnel down to the basket here, and like you were talking about, the trees that surround the basket can give you plenty of trouble. I feel like if you're going to miss anywhere, you just need to miss short. You'd love to be right on line, but possibly short, because that'll give you a clear look at the basket. And I'm pretty sure it looked like Catrina Allen actually slipped there. We see that the tee is maybe just a little bit wet from all of that moisture yesterday. She slipped. It came out early, and that one just barely finished left, and it looked like it was out of bounds for Catrina off the tee.
You can see almost a little bit of a puddle at the front of the tee. So you got to watch that footing. But here's Lisa. Really nice shot, cutting it in right before that big pine tree. Wide open putt, but she's very close to the out of bounds. You can see the red stakes on that side.
She will be able to bring it in probably a meter and bring it even closer to the basket. Here's Bjerkaas.
This is heading for the pine tree. Come on in. And that's nice positioning. Paige just took a double bogey on that last hole. So it's the only color that we see on the scorecard for this entire group. And it's not the color that you want. So let's see if Paige can get back on track here. Needs a birdie. Give her a little bit momentum.
Looks to be left and low. And that's also carrying toward the OB, but it looks like it came up a bit short. Tough to tell for sure. We'll be back in a moment.
Are you obsessed with disc golf? If so, this is for you. DiscGolfBoxes.com. Premium hand-picked products shipped to your door every month. It's easy. 1. Pick your box size, the par, birdie, or ace. 2. Choose the brand of disc you would like. 3. Fill out the survey so we know exactly what you like. Go now to DiscGolfBoxes.com and sign up today. Use coupon code DGPT to save 10% on your first box. Go to DiscGolfBoxes.com to get your monthly box of disc golf awesomeness.
Back with Paige, and she did finish inbounds. However, that putt is off. It looked like it was low and flat, and she needed just a bit of hyzer on it.
There's something interesting, you know, when you're starting to feel like one part of your game is lacking and you start to pay a little bit more attention to it. You're saying she was putting a little bit more time in the practice field around the basket. Then your mind comes into it and you're thinking about it too much. And then all of a sudden you go, all right, well, I'm not going to think about it at all. I'm just going to do my regular routine and just step up and make it happen. But that's also a mental game that you're playing. And I feel like Paige is rushing it a little bit, just trying to get back into that feel. But Paige Bjerkaas is really wanting that one. Let's see how Lisa's shot ended up. That looks safe to me.
It does, just barely. Now she's going to bring it out 1 meter. Anytime you're near and out of bounds, or if you are OB, you can always bring it back up to 1 meter, and you don't have to take that full meter. In this case, she's going to. And she nets the birdie. First one on the card. I don't know if we have a special prize for her. Maybe a Bevel beer later. I'm just going to give away your product now, if that's all right, Val.
Yeah, anytime. So Lisa's going to card the only birdie. Let's see if Paige Pierce can hit this little tricky putt.
And Bjerkaas will tap in. We're going to move over to hole number 5 here in just a moment. Val, what do we got here?
Hole 5, par 3, 315 feet. We're going to see as the drone flies around. This side hill just kind of gets into your mind a little bit. You have to throw a nice understable disc or maybe a turnover shot so that you can clear side hill and keep it safely in bounds. But just the way that this hole is shaped, it's going to just pull discs off to the left. And I'm going to sound like a broken record. You got OB on the left and the right. But here it really comes into play on the left-hand side of the basket. So those players looking to park it, that's what they got to deal with, and that's what they got to worry about.
Well, we saw here on hole number 5, like hole 1, this actually has a separate tee that the FPO division is competing from. There's a longer tee that the MPO plays from here. And yesterday, I loved how this hole played out on the FPO side. We saw a couple of very aggressive shots, a couple of good looks at birdie. Unfortunately, I think it was Vanessa Van Dyken who was closest, but not able to capitalize on it. But looking forward to seeing a few good shots here off the tee. Lisa's got the honors, and she's going to go with a forehand. Now, I'm going to say that in watching her line up with a forehand, I don't know if she's necessarily thinking about attacking this pin entirely or if she's just trying to put herself out in the open. But unfortunately, whatever her game plan was, it looks like that turned over and found the out of bounds on that left side.
That was an interesting play. Didn't get enough turn on that disc to come back. See if Catrina's disc can work for her.
Yeah, it flips up nicely, and Catrina well inside the circle. All but a park job for her. Nice shot. Here's Bjerkaas.
And that was fully trusting your disc. That disc was so understable. She released it with a little bit of hyzer, and it just worked for her. That is what you need. Let's see if Paige's disc can hold on. And so quickly finding the out of bounds on the left-hand side. Just a little bit too much stability on that disc.
She will be just about at circle's edge or inside of that, in fact. So she will have a good opportunity to still save the par with a good putt. Here's Pierce. That needs to turn over. Oh, and I think Pierce is saved by the tree. She'll take a look at that. We'll see you in the fairway in just a moment. And stepping up and throwing very quickly after retrieving her spot from out of bounds. That was Lisa, and now the group will continue to move down the fairway here. Not to jinx anything, but I'm loving the pace so far this morning. Again, not having to deal with nearly as much moisture out on the course or any of the other conditions that we'll say the men saw in the afternoon yesterday, or even the early goings of some of the other men's cards that went off just after the women did. So far, so good. Temperatures are probably slowly starting to climb up, and I think we're going to see the mid to high 70s today.
It was absolutely awful yesterday. I know you didn't see too much of it, nice and cozy here in our studio, but I was just under the pavilion and freezing. I mean, I can't even imagine what the players had to deal with yesterday afternoon. It was, yeah, miserable, cold. They're very happy that the sun is going to be shining today.
There it is. Paige Pierce putting herself on the board here this morning with the birdie on hole 5. That will negate one of the strokes that she got with that double bogey previous hole.
They're right there. She's comfortable and confident. Sometimes it's as simple as that to turn your whole round around. And here's Paige Bjerkaas after just trickling out of bounds, marking her meter in. I love how she just works herself to get comfortable. You know, she goes through her whole routine.
And I need to check the wind. I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends.
And that was for bogey for Lisa Fajkus. And we're going to see CTP Catrina Allen with the birdie, keeping up with Paige on that one. And we are on to hole 6.
One of those buttons will get us there, Val. Here's hole 6. Give us the preview.
Hole 6, par 3, 270 feet. Lots of OB on this one. Players probably are imagining that this is kind of like a fake lake or fake water situation because you don't even want to deal with it. You just want to throw over it completely. You see a lot of just up the gut shots, slightly uphill the entire way. So even though it's in the 200s, plays more like 300 plus. So you really have to put a move on it to reach the basket. With the elevated basket, you want to be close, make those putts a little bit easier, but another birdie opportunity for these players.
And yesterday, everyone, well, not everyone, a lot of our FPO field taking advantage of this one. I believe this was the most birdied hole that we saw out here on the course.
And we're going to see this a lot. Catrina Allen has her discs worked in so well that she's releasing them at such a hyzer angle and throwing them so hard that they flip up and try and turn over. Not enough flip on that one, but she's right there for her putt. But we'll see players like Paige Pierce. She's got so much power. She's throwing straighter discs, a little bit more stable, and she's releasing them on a flatter line. Oh, and if it gets through that last tree, not sure where that one ended up, but a little bit of a misfire, an early release. You just have those two guardian bushes that you have to get in between. Let's see if Paige Bjerkaas misses them. Catches a branch, but I believe she landed inbounds.
A little bit surprising to see a few of these errant shots on this relatively easy hole thus far. Let's see if Lisa can make an adjustment. I like that. That's a little bit more to the right. It's going to hyzer back just in front of the basket. She's just past it.
We'll be back in a moment.
Disc golf is a relatively young sport, but its popularity makes it one of the fastest growing pastimes in the world. The PDGA is a not...
We're back with Paige. I'm hoping she calls a provisional because that could be close to see if she landed inbounds off her drive. But taking that shot from the live there.
Yeah, and so for everyone at home, if you're unclear or unsure of exactly how or what a provisional is, that's anytime you're uncertain of how the rules may play out on a particular hole or situation, you can declare a provisional shot where you throw a shot and then you play it from both of the instances. Hopefully there's only two. You throw it from both of the instances where it's where the rules may apply differently. So in this case, she was probably unsure if she was in bounds or not. So rather than coming all the way out to find out that she was out of bounds and then having to walk back, she was going to play as if she was out of bounds. So therefore declaring the provisional. And if ultimately you don't need to play from that shot, then it does not count against you. In this case, a great application for speed of play, as our cameraman is following along Paige Bjerkaas' jump putt, and aggressive up and over the basket to the elevated basket here, but not able to connect.
And we'll see Catrina here outside the circle, about 40 feet with the elevated basket. It looks like she's taking her time looking up at the basket, aiming for it. I think she's going to be running this one.
Oh no. Wow, I was just about to count it after it looked like it just tickled off a leaf there, one of the branches hanging down, and then it bounced up and down what looked like 2 or 3 times on the rim or near the chains, and then it just barely comes out. I was thinking back to her final hole yesterday, hole number 18, almost the exact same distance. She lined it up and knocked it down, and it looked like that one was good as well, but just a bit short. Here's Lisa.
Wow, that would have been huge. She had to throw it so high in the air on this elevated basket. Oh, and just a little high for Lisa. I mean, this is a good basket to be running at. It's relatively flat all around. It is an elevated basket, so it can get a little tricky. It's like a basket on a hill, but if you do go past, you might be flying past.
And Bjerkaas recovers, and we'll put that one in. And definitely a different tale from what we saw yesterday. Yesterday, I believe almost all 4 of these women birdied it. And today we're not going to see any birdies. Yeah, in fact, all 4 women did birdie this one yesterday.
Just made it look so easy that I didn't even think it had too much trouble, but we saw Paige Pierce taking a bogey on that one. Catrina Allen has increased her lead over Paige by 3. So just like that, scores are switching up. Here's Catrina just dropping in for her par. And we are heading on to hole 7. 7 is a boomer. 7 is par 5, 825 feet. Starts off with a huge crushing drive, but accuracy really comes into play. You've got trees on the left and the right and a little bit of a low ceiling, so you just want to bomb it up there as far as you can. You want to stay in the center. So your second drive, which it is a complete drive, to get up into about this area. And then it's an upshot from here. You've got to maneuver around a few large trees, end up right next to the basket. If you play it perfectly, you can get a birdie, but it's a little bit of trouble maneuvering around so many trees in this fairway.
Well, we've seen just 2 birdies out here this morning thus far. Callie McMorrin, along with Kona Starpanis, have both managed to take the birdie 4 here. And we'll see how our lead card can attack it. Of course, you've got 2 of the farthest throwing players in the sport of disc golf in Paige Pierce, along with Catrina Allen. And Catrina Allen, as we saw back on hole 2, she's not afraid to get a little bit creative. And if that means throwing a roller shot or maybe taking a line that some of the other women just simply aren't capable of doing, both her and Paige, I feel like always have that a little extra trick in their bag, or that extra vote of confidence in their bag, where they may take a shot that other women are like, oh, okay, yeah, we never even thought of that. Kind of like we sometimes see on the MPO side when you have really good players that like look at a Simon Lizotte line and think, no, who does that? No one does that except for you, Simon. So we see that by both Paige and Catrina. But right now, it looks like we're going to catch up with Vanessa Van Dyken, who was featured on our card yesterday, our 2014 amateur world champion. Also recent Discraft acquisition here in the offseason.
She's put herself in a nice position, but it's a little tough for a backhand thrower. You've got those trees so tight on the right. See if she can get a turn on this. A little bit of early release. She'll be set up for a longer upshot from there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, as we're coming back. I know we've talked about the weather, but let's talk about tonight what we're going to see as the players wrap up some activities. We know that the Rose Festival has kicked off for the season. This is the first weekend. I believe it's 12 consecutive weekends. Does that sound right? Or 6 consecutive weekends? There's a lot of festivaling going on here in Portland. We were down there during the opening ceremony and the opening night where we had fireworks a couple nights ago. We also had a Bevel beer release yesterday. Tell everyone about what that means and how they have to come here and get some of the delicious beer.
So we released our very first canned beer called Disclandia, play off of Portlandia.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But I wanted to have this theme about revolving this beer and the name of the beer around. We lived in a world where everything revolved around disc golf and flying disc sports. So I took that vision. I told an artist that I had followed on Instagram. His name is Jeff Wind at Part Fish, Part Cran. You need to check him out. He does amazing doodles just about every day, but he came up with this insanely colorful, whimsical, awesome artwork, and we put that on our can. So making it a little bit of a collector's item, but this beer was brewed especially for this tournament. So we brought it out here. It's on draft, but we're also selling those cans like I'm talking about, and they'll be available today. Nate is working the beer booth, and then we trade off in the afternoon, and I'll be pouring the beer, and Nate will be sitting right next to you. It's a weekend full of disc golf, but it's so fun to be here and be back in the scene, almost like we're back playing the tournament, but not having to deal with birdies and bogeys.
Yeah, well,
more consistent.
Yeah, we're even par, so to speak.
It looks like we are live back with our lead card. So after Vanessa's shot, we're going to jump back to Catrina Allen on the tee.
And just like yesterday, squirrel heading across the fairway right in the mid-throw. And a great-looking shot there by Catrina. I think that's exactly how you would draw up this tee shot. We know we've got friends and family that I'm guessing maybe part or all of the Bjerkaas family out there watching today. Also, I see Catrina's mom is out on the board watching. So welcome, everyone, and hope you guys are having a great Memorial Day weekend. Thanks for joining us.
And sawing it off a little bit on the left-hand side of the fairway. If she does get a little too far left, it does open up. If you're just off the fairway, there's plenty of trees that come into play. So it'll be interesting to see what her shot looks like from there, playing the left-hand side of the fairway. But Paige Bjerkaas is off to a clean start. She's all pars so far. There's Lisa on the left-hand side, just in front of that Doug fir. So she's in good position. You do not want to be under those trees. I mean, you have no windows. Those branches are so funky that the way they curl up, they really block any window. Let's see if Paige can really get a little aggression out, and she bombs it.
Wow, getting all the way past the cameraman and then some. We're going to move up the fairway here on hole 7. We'll be back in a moment.
At Dynamic Discs, we offer affordable custom stamping to help your company, club, event, or tour stand out from the rest. We can use your own design, or we'll work with you to design a stamp that captures the tone of your event. We'll get your discs stamped quickly and on their way within 3 weeks. If you're ordering for an event, you may qualify for one of our sponsorship tiers as well. Discs are listed at our best pricing with a minimum 50 disc order with a 10 disc minimum per mold. We have junior and mini discs available as well. For all the information you need, head over to dynamicdiscs.com or email custom@dynamicdiscs.com.
When I need to check the wind, I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends.
And noting a little bit of a wardrobe change up, Lisa adding an extra layer here. So maybe it's not quite as warm out there as we think it is, Val.
Not yet. There's that squirrel again, Terry. Somebody must be paying him. Not necessarily psyching out Lisa there, but she puts herself in a good position.
Yeah, really great shot there. Fun fact, Val, when I was a kid.
Squirrel fact?
I got a squirrel fact. I don't know about fact, but when I was a little kid, there was a squirrel in my backyard that somehow we befriended, hand feeding a few peanuts to, and eventually just became a good little friend of ours, so to speak. And someday, you're going to see a throwback to this squirrel that was sitting on my head as I was hand feeding it peanuts back when I was a little toddler. We miss you, Junior. Rest in peace.
And cue the photo, Johnny. No, I wish we did have that. Junior. And what a great shot there by Paige Bjerkaas, just lacing it all the way up the right side of the fairway with just a gentle finish to it to keep her in the center. And we see a white stake there. And I know we have stakes out there that are denoting the various distances to the pin. That's a great addition that we've seen here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour over the last few events. Yeah, those are really nice references to have, especially in a hole that is just so far. Thankfully, you do have the trees, so that helps judge distance a little bit more. But on those wide open shots, it's almost impossible if you have no frame of reference. So Catrina's in a perfect position right in the middle of the fairway. Let's see if she can turn it up right in front of the trees. Another beautiful shot. She's going to have a nice, easy upshot, and she's looking at a good chance at a birdie right now. A lot of throws to be had on this hole, but they're making their way along. Again, par 5.
Wow.
800 and some feet. So lots of throws on this hole.
Yeah, and a very clean scorecard. I know you talked about it a moment ago as we were teeing off here. Paige Bjerkaas, all pars thus far, so quite even keel, including that par she made a few holes ago where she had to actually make it from out of bounds after throwing OB to save the par. And Catrina Allen, the only color on her scorecard is the right one. It's a blue one, so she's got one down for the round, and she's momentarily extended her lead over Paige Pierce. And this is an opportunity. We'll see if Paige can take advantage of some of the distance here. We'll talk about some of the other hot scores in a moment as Paige finds a tree about 3/4 of the way down her flight. And as we scroll down a little bit, as you guys can do as well on UDisc, Val, you just noted Rebecca Cox, 4 birdies in a row as she's trying to climb her way up the leaderboard at the moment, but 4 consecutive birdies from holes 5 through 8. Very impressive performance out there right now by Rebecca. Hole 7, as you described it a little bit earlier, is currently playing as the 10th most difficult out here on the course.
So that means it's just basically right in the middle.
Just about right in the middle, exactly. Averaging 4.89, which is about a tenth of a stroke below par on average.
And we do see a handful of birdies on this one. And if you do put yourself in the perfect position, give yourself good footing, you can really attack this hole.
Love the forehand. What a clean release here. And putting herself just behind the pin. Great shot by Lisa. Val, when we started this hole, I was talking about how we'd only had seen 2 birdies a little while ago. And it looks like they're hammering through. Rebecca Cox, Jessica Weiss, Vanessa Van Dyke, and Zoe Andyke have all also birdied now in the last few cards that have come through. So very impressive.
And Paige is in an interesting position, not knowing what route exactly to go, but looks like she's got her eye on a target. Ooh, going the inside hyzer route, plenty of distance, trickles a little bit past the basket, but she's going to have a good look there. That would be for her birdie if she's able to capitalize on that putt. So we've got a few looks.
We certainly, yeah, we certainly do. We got more birdie looks than squirrel looks at this moment.
And yeah, this is tough. When you're tucked up to this line of trees on the right-hand side, you've got a couple different options, and you see Paige Bjerkaas there just weighing them out. Just lining up the sidearm. We know she doesn't throw the sidearm too often, but it looks like she's going to rely on the good old backhand, just about picking which trees to go in between.
And that seems to be the perfect choice as she's nestled right up next to the pin. Great shot there by Paige Bjerkaas. When in doubt as to what Paige is throwing, you can almost always just assume it's a judge. She loves to throw those judges up there. And, you know, we've seen that mentality when she gets into some of the tighter, more difficult holes. She just really plays that good conservative game, keeping things in the middle. In this case, a great approach. Now, here's Kat also putting herself within 15 feet of the basket.
Well, they're making this hole look easy. Everybody is now putting for birdie inside circle 1. So we should see this card racking up birdies on this hole. Hasn't been a ton of momentum. Like, nobody's really taken a lead at this point. There's not a ton to talk about besides Paige giving up a few strokes in almost the first half of this course. We're almost halfway through. Paige is the only one just kind of not really feeling it just yet. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out and see if Paige right now can get things going. There's that putter trickling on the left-hand side, spitting out. I know how that feels.
Just really surprising. I mean, of course, I've seen Paige for so many years now, and I would definitely chalk this up as some form of putting woes. I'm not sure. Yips maybe sounds like overstating. It's just there's something that's not right for her at the moment. And Paige isn't afraid to do something like change up her style. She may switch from a straddle putt to go with more of a straight on putt. She's not afraid to, kind of make an adjustment, whether it's long or short term. Here's Fajkus. Solid putt.
And what happened there, Terry?
It's got to be the squirrel. I honestly, I do not know what happened.
No way.
Kat, understandably a little bit frustrated. She's got a smile on her face, so I give her a lot of credit. She's going to just take it and roll with it. Thankfully, that was just for birdie as opposed to, taking a bogey or something. But wow, tough break for Kat. Very unfortunate to see. We're going to move over to hole 8, another very reachable and gettable hole here, Val.
Hole 8, par 3, 315 feet. This one's tricky. So if you look at the course map there, lots and lots of out of bounds. I wouldn't expect any of these players to lay up. I think everybody's going to be going for it. It's a turnover shot. The trees are a little bit shorter on the left-hand side. So we're going to see turnover. I don't think anybody's going to throw a sidearm. We had Sarah Hokum in our group yesterday, so that was a basic sidearm hyzer to the basket. It's absolutely reachable, but we're going to see the players landing near and around the basket, and most importantly, you need to land safe.
All right. Well, before I dig further into hole 8, let's take a quick look at the scores. Catrina ultimately walks away with the par on the previous hole, so she remains at that 6 under. She's 1 under for the round. Paige Pierce falling just a bit behind her at the moment, as Paige is 2 up for the round, also not able to convert on that birdie. So there's a little bit of a distance now between Kat and Paige, that 3 strokes, and Lisa and Bjerkaas, Paige Bjerkaas and Lisa Fajkus, both taking birdie. So now they're sitting at that 1 under, somewhat closing that gap. They started this round 5 strokes behind Paige Pierce, as well as 5 strokes behind Catrina Allen. And now you see that's just a 2-stroke difference. So some momentum might be in their favor. We're heading kind of to the middle of the course where we saw so much of the scoring yesterday. They all started off a little bit slow and then picked things up in the middle. And then both Paige and Kat kind of had a stronger finish. Today, we're moving into these birdie opportunities on the middle part of the course that seem to suit them a little bit better. I'm going to look at hole 8 specifically, as I believe we'll be able to also catch up with Vanessa Van Dyken here in a moment. But hole 8 is playing as the 7th most difficult, and it's playing over par, which is somewhat surprising to me. We've seen just 3 birdies here thus far this morning. And a jumper there by Vanessa doesn't find the bottom of the basket.
You see Rebecca Cox is looking into the out of bounds. It's a little bit of a ravine there, so it's tough to see where your disc ends up. Yes, this could easily be one of those birdie or bogey holes. So this is a good stroke
Separator of sorts, certainly. Yeah, we'll see. Oh no, what happened there?
That's exactly what just happened to Kat. Just a little too strong in the heart of the basket. I mean, that was a perfect putt. So confident, hitting the pole and just bouncing out. And in this game, we know every stroke matters. So that could make all the difference.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and clarify, as someone may wonder or ask out there, even in the last putt that had fallen out, I said, well, thankfully that was for birdie. Of course, no one wants to give up a stroke at any point, whether you don't want your putt to spit out for 7 as opposed to for 8 or whatever the case might be. But when you're thinking about the mentality of, okay, I've been playing really solid, I'm at or below par, fair or not, I think some people would feel like it stings a little more when that par putt falls out and you take the bogey, as opposed to a birdie putt falling out and you take the par. Now, maybe that's entirely a crazy mental thing on my behalf that I think of it that way. No one wants to give away any strokes to the equipment or to any other goofy mishap, but that's how at least I think of it, especially when we're looking at par and below have been kind of the score that has been in the lead so far. If you're shooting par out here, you're contending. Kat and Paige, came out firing really hot yesterday with that 5 under, but anything around par at this point is definitely in contention. So
I'm on the same page with you. I mean, it is a mental thing, but you can kind of give yourself a little bit of a break if you don't capitalize on a birdie, as opposed to not saving par. Like you beat
Exactly.
yourself up a little bit more if you get a bogey.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I was trying to convey. So I can understand someone second guessing. Of course, all strokes matter, but sometimes just your game plan and your mentality about them can switch up.
And check out this game plan. I said I didn't expect anybody to lay up, but Paige Bjerkaas choosing the layup. Lisa Fajkus also might be choosing the layup. There's a reason they are on the lead card today, so I would not second guess this play. A little bit of a hyzer there.
Oh, and it
Looks like a red flag is pulled out for Lisa. Trying to play it safe. I always hate when that happens and you find yourself out of bounds, but there's OB everywhere on this hole.
And let's see if this has enough turn. And it does. That's going to be safe for Catrina.
Wow, I wasn't sure about that, but it looks like the green area just opens up just enough on the left-hand side, making it safer for those shots that don't necessarily turn as much as you'd hope. These players do have to get it up in the air. You got to make sure that disc is understable enough, and looks like Paige made a good choice there. It's tough to see with that side hill, but I believe she's inbounds.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I couldn't tell. It looked like that might have been a late red flag, or they may have to actually get up there and determine. Either way, we'll be back in a moment. And after her OB shot, we have Lisa throwing what will be her third shot and almost trying to save the par from way back there.
Wow. Yeah, it's a tough play to throw the layup because you still have those trees to throw in between, but there is enough of that gap as we see from behind the basket. And Paige Bjerkaas has put herself in a really nice spot.
Yeah, if you'd like a blueprint for how you're going to lay up, play conservative, and walk away with a stress-free par, just check out how Paige Bjerkaas has just played this. Exactly what she was drawing up. Perfect.
Yeah, it kind of evens out the stress level on each of those shots. When you're going for the drive on this hole, all the stress weighs on the drive to land in bounds. And I think we lost Catrina Allen down in the ditch.
Oh. Cat.
Hello? Is anybody going to help her? And there she is. Okay, we're all good.
Okay. I thought she went hunting for frogs.
But they
do that around here, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But we did see the red flag go up for Paige Pierce. So we see them still on the shorter side of the fairway.
Yeah, we're trying to get a clarification here as to we need air traffic control, apparently.
Okay, you have the option.
And again, discussing the options of where to take the next shot. When you land out of bounds, you can either take it from where you last in bounds or from the drop zone.
The white one.
See a little bit of confusion yesterday.
No.
Let's see if we can listen in on this conversation.
Right here? Yeah. If you walk back over, there's a log in your place.
It never crossed the corner, though.
He's saying it never crossed the corner. What corner?
Right there where you're standing.
Right. I'm right here.
Good.
What do you think? This is like OB right here, and he doesn't think it ever crossed this corner. Oh. What do y'all think? Oh.
So the conversation, very quick conversation that took place as Paige almost rings that up and also almost saves her par, was that the spotter had thought that she did not cross over the, we'll say, the long side of the inbounds area, which would have put her much closer, still out of bounds, but would have put her much closer to possibly save the par. So instead, she opted to go to the drop zone, and the group was just getting the input from the spotter, and sounds as if they agreed with his assessment.
Just Catrina who's out and everybody else is parked.
The only one making it into that little bit of an island green is Catrina. Sure exactly what she's waiting for. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it looks like she's waiting on another group, possibly a hole or two ahead, waiting for them to just simply move on so that then she can throw her approach shot.
Putting a little extra thought into it. Might be giving it a little bit of a run.
Yeah, the OB does come into play very quickly just past the basket on the right side. And so it required a little bit of a delicate touch, and she should have a relatively routine drop-in par, as will Bjerkaas. She's left herself inside 15 feet, maybe 12 feet.
Almost just like a pendulum. I mean, that's such a unique putting form that Catrina has developed in the last couple of months, or I mean, basically to start the season, just kind of making it really simple. A lot of body movement toward the basket. Her arm is just swinging straight towards it. And if she's able just to extend her arm, that basket is going right on line.
Yeah, we've seen some of that style by Ricky Wysocki throughout the years with kind of that pendulum motion you mentioned. And I know she's experienced a few, trials and tribulations and struggles with her putt. And in talking to her at another event earlier in this year, she said she's kind of going back to an older style and what's worked for her in the past. And that's exactly what she's doing here. And she's been quite successful over the last few weekends specifically. So again, separating herself a little more from Paige Pierce, and we're going to move on to hole 9.
Hole 9, 515 feet, par 4. It's an interesting look at that course map, but we see the flight of where the disc needs to go from here. Starting off with a layup placement drive off the tee, about 300 feet to land in this open area right in the middle. All the short grass is always in bounds. The tall grass, that's marking the out of bounds. Then you're set up for an upshot toward the basket. Again, another DGPT elevated pyramid basket. This one's not too tricky, but you just have to be aware of where the out of bounds is and put yourself, landing your shots in bounds is the most important. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I feel like this hole is one of the easier ones that we can see everyone in the division attack.
Mhm.
Like you just mentioned, make sure you find one of the big landing zones that are there. You have a relatively open and easy landing zone on the approach shot. Of course, you have that little bit of elevation that'll make you just
second guess for a moment when you're on the green, but this is one of the easier holes out there. We've already seen 9 birdies, as in 40% of the FPO field birdie it today out there. So there, again, the opportunities are there. We've seen a few people struggle with it, but for the most part, there's more birdies than really anything else out here today. So I expect this one is a great opportunity to pick up a stroke. Before heading into, I start thinking about how hole 11 is looming, just a few
let's
holes.
just not think about it
Okay.
just yet. We
One
got
step
a
at
couple
a time.
holes.
Okay, but that looms. So, and hole 10 is no, walk in the park either, because of the OB that presents itself there. So we're here on 9, and let's see if this lead card. I'm going to go ahead and predict that we're going to see at least 3 birdies on this lead card out of the 4 women.
I think that's safe to bet. Nobody seems to be on their game yet today. Catrina Allen is off to the lead. She's got 4 strokes over Paige Pierce, who still sits in second place. But I just don't feel like anybody's getting that shift of momentum. Nobody's really feeling it just yet. Still a little bit of overcast, maybe not a lot of energy, but they're making their way through, and Paige Bjerkaas lands herself in that landing zone. So she's off to a good start. Ooh, and this is low, but lands herself right in the middle. And this really just sets up so nicely for a backhand thrower. The shot off the tee is just a nice, easy hyzer.
That pushes a little more to that right side, but should be just fine. Again, right in the middle of the landing zone. And Paige going higher than the previous shots. We'll see if she has any more distance to it, as that's going to fight back. And she actually pushes that right side OB, not where you want to be, but we're going to see you guys in a moment from the fairway of 9.
Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag. Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the zone that just went a little bit further with that consistency. And with the Raptor, I really feel like we accomplished that.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to our second round of the 2019 Portland Open. Terry Miller along with Valerie Jenkins. Val, as we're just about to the halfway point of this round, we can also just take a quick glance over, again, without jinxing anyone. We're about an hour and 15 minutes into this round. Things are moving along swiftly, and that's great for everyone. That's great for the players. That's great for all the spectators, and as well as all the volunteers that are out there. I think it helps with the flow of the actual broadcast, and things are moving along very nicely. And I think it'd speed up even a little bit more when we're going to see a few birdies as Lisa goes just past the pin here, and great position to pick up a birdie here on 9.
And players that are racking up some birdies. We mentioned Rebecca Cox. She's sitting at 3 under for the round. So Rebecca's shooting really well, starting off on hole 4. She's had 5 birdies since then. Another player that is just lighting it up, Sarah Holcomb, is also at 3 down for the round. Sarah's moved herself up 5 places today. We caught her round yesterday in the featured round. So it's nice to see Sarah playing hot golf today. Catrina Allen is sitting at 1 under. And also Paige Bjerkaas, 1 under. I think Paige is starting to get a little bit of energy. That was an awesome shot. Paige Pierce laying it up.
My odds are looking pretty good right now,
They
Val.
are. I didn't even throw down a bet. I knew that that was probably really likely that these players would be able to dial in this shot.
Maybe one of those special beverages that are being released. We'll have to talk about one of those.
If we can ever get you out of the studio, you are stuck to the studio.
That's
You got
true.
I think your leg is chained to this table. So thank you again for helping Nate and I out with the coverage this weekend, allowing us a little free time to head over to the course, talk to some players, pour some Bevel beer. It's been really fun. So
Well,
appreciate all your time. I think we do owe you something.
I am more than glad, and I want to thank you guys. You guys have been just killing it here during the opening few events here of the Disc Golf Pro Tour in the 2019 season, as you guys come from the Bevel Tap Room studio, and Catrina's birdie bid is just a bit short to that elevated basket. And to answer a few questions out there, a lot of people keep asking, when are we going to see you guys on the course again? Is there anything you want to clarify or put out there for everyone to answer that question?
It's not likely that we're going to be making our way back to, and not able to capitalize on that putt. After almost nailing it on her upshot. That's always a bummer, but not looking like we have any tournaments on our schedule just yet. Tap room is keeping us very busy. Nate is brewing all the beer, so he needs to be there making sure the beer's tasting good. So we'll see. We'll want to be out there for events, but probably playing anytime soon.
No, Lisa's, it's just so easy. It's right there. Just go in. Well, she does get the birdie. And, well, good thing I didn't have you take me up on that bet. It looks like we're going to have 50% birdies as both Pierce and Fajkus are going to tap in.
No, that's Todd's because he's close to the
A little bit of a change up, and it's the game of disc golf. You can never expect something to happen until that putt is in the basket. And we are halfway through now. We're on to hole 10, par 3, 295 feet. It's another tricky one. Lots and lots of OB lining the fairway on the left hand and the right hand side. This is a turnover shot, so all these players are likely going to be throwing backhand, slow turning backhands. For me, this is more of a play for par. It's tough to get your drives to land close enough to the basket because it slopes off a little and OB is just right there. So it's an easier chance to bogey it if you're going for the birdie. So we'll see. I don't know, maybe Lisa Fajkus. She's got a really nice sidearm. She pulls it out, I think, more often than the other players on this card. So it's a good play.
Yeah, and I love watching. I think one of my favorite shots in disc golf is watching Paige Pierce throw kind of a gentle turnover shot. I think she has really perfected that. And right there along with her, of course, is Catrina's, her gentle turnover shot at that 280 to 300 foot. I just feel like that is such a huge advantage that they have over the rest of the FPO field because they're so controlled with it and they can break it out whenever they need. Now, they both can throw forehands. I think Kat's a little bit more proficient on the forehand side, but they also can rely on those mids or putters for that controlled turnover shot. And this is a perfect opportunity for those. This is where you're exactly right. I think we'd see Lisa, if she's playing aggressive, she's going to go with the forehand shot and line that up, and it looks like she's doing just that. Kat and Paige, I give them the advantage on this one when they can throw that backhand gentle glidey shot.
Right.
Gentle glidey, official terms of disc golf. Thank you.
Absolutely. And throwing the forehand, you have to throw a driver, and she just turns it too much. Not happy with that. And really, it's all about the disc choice. And on this one, it's a shorter hole, so that nice slow flight of a mid-range is a very nice choice. Just pop it on a line. You know it's going to just glide its way. This one's tough because of that angle that you have to throw at. And we're losing Paige's white disc in that overcast, but we see it turning in, and nice shot from Paige. She is looking like a perfect opportunity for birdie right there. Now Paige Bjerkaas is going to be throwing just the same shot. Let's see if she can dial in that slow fading turnover. Here we go with Cat. Gotta get the distance, have the right angle. And she's just throwing such an understable disc, popping it out there, letting the disc do the work, but it ends up really short.
Yeah, not enough air under that one. We'll see you guys in a moment.
Passion is more than fiery emotion. It feeds the spark to start your day. It fuels your obsessions. It inspires your dreams. Passion challenges your fears, and it repeatedly bathes you in sweat until you are transformed into a new, better you. Disc golf isn't just your passion, it's ours too.
Before every round, tighten the wheel knobs. Remember to tighten both sides simultaneously using a clockwise motion. Only tighten the set screw once your wheel knobs have been tightened. To even more securely attach your umbrella holder, you can lower the handle by about 1 inch and then attach the clip just above the handle. You can turn the umbrella holder upside down to help secure the umbrella so it doesn't move from side to side.
Welcome back, everyone. Here with Lisa Fajkus winding up for her approach. And you have to be, of course, a little bit delicate here because as that just past the basket, it dips down into an OB area. And we saw an errant putt yesterday actually fall all the way into that OB area. So got to be careful here. And when, for instance, Paige Bjerkaas, she's in the position that she is, that angle and the OB shouldn't really come into play. It was more so for Lisa.
That's why we couldn't see it. Turned it over just a little bit too much, finding the OB on the right-hand side of the fairway. Again, it just needs to be a layup. Oh, and she is on point for those longer up shots.
Yes, and she almost put in that long one on the previous hole. We'll see if Paige can get things completely dialed in. We may see another highlight attempt here by Bjerkaas.
Catrina's lining this up for her putt. Nice, and that's another ish. I think that happened yesterday. Just a little bit outside. Don't need to be too aggressive. But CTP rolling up with her Zuka cart. Paige Pierce cured this shot. Let's see if we can get it nice and easy in the basket. Don't want it too perfect. We've seen those spit out.
We have. Well, there we go. And we've got some hot scores coming in. We're going to take a look at as our final few tap-ins happen here. Surprisingly, none of the hottest scores, well, I should say 3 of the hottest scores, are coming from another card. And there we have it. We're through 10. What's the plan here?
Here we go. On to hole 11. A hole like no other on this course. It's a par 4. This is where you need your drive to land. And then look at what the players have to deal with this tunnel. It really closes in. So if you're throwing the up the gut shot, it is just so tight and narrow. We did see a few players go over the top. And I think that's a really good play. It really avoids all those trees. Put yourself way up in the sky, landing about here, allowing yourself to have a nice upshot. But this would be an incredible birdie. I think players are extremely happy with par on this hole. There's a lot of trouble to get into. After you throw your drive, that's when all the work needs to be done.
And exactly to your point about taking a par, yesterday this played as the single most difficult hole on the entire course in the FPO division. It averaged 5.35 And unfortunately, it relinquished exactly 0 birdies. So taking a par, there's nothing wrong with that. Only 39% of the field actually took the par. So roughly a third of our competitors taking the par. Today, we've only had 11 of our competitors come through thus far, but still 0 birdies, and 45% of the field that's played it has the par. So we're going to catch up. It looks like we've got a little bit of the chase cards, a little bonus extra action coming at us. A moment ago, I just watched Vanessa Van Dyken throw her tee shot. Unfortunately, it looks like she was the 4th woman to tee there, so we're not going to be able to show you any of that action. But we see Rebecca Cox, Jessica Weiss, and Vanessa Van Dyken, along with Amy Lewis on the card. Amy, kind of regionally placed out in the Northwest out here. I've watched her play in Alaska a few years ago. And so great to see her out here competing on this national tour event.
Yeah, she's the highest. She's ranking the highest right now among all the women playing from the state of Oregon. So hometown girl. So I'm sure she's really proud of how she's playing this weekend. And we've seen her name pop up quite a few times throughout the season here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. But you mentioned a few names. We just saw Rebecca Cox up there. She's still hanging in with one of the hottest scores of today's round. Sarah Hokum as well. So players are feeling it. This is moving day.
Moving day. I was just going to say, some of them are making their move.
Moving day.
Moving day. we have to clarify so that we know here. But yeah, as I look off on your screen, just at a glance, still seeing Rebecca Cox has birdied 5 out of the last 7 holes. So she's 4 down for the round and birdied 5 out of the last 7. So she is definitely in the groove right now, feeling really good, trying to make that move. And we'll see where that's going to place her. If she's going to make that fight and that position overall for the lead. I'm going to take a quick look at the overall scores. And we see that even with that and her trying to make her move, I apologize. Yeah,
Just
she's
look
moved
for
up.
all the blue,
Yeah, thank you. I know. I was busy looking
Rebecca.
for my Nico arrows. Instead, yeah, we see her. She's moved up into 3rd place right now. So she's moved up just 2 positions, being on that chase card. But she's put herself into 3rd place. And I apologize. I mentioned she had a bogey to start. She actually had a double bogey, so that's why she sits at 3 under. Sometimes math can be a little tough out here on the West Coast, but I got it figured out. She's 3 under for the round. Still one of the hottest rounds that we're seeing here in today's play.
So catching up with the second card, this is Vanessa Van Dyken, and she's just short of that opening. So it looks like she's lining up to go over the top. Look out, spotters. Here she comes. Look like a little inside. Hopefully she got enough distance on that to have crossed inbounds way up there. Otherwise, you're in a horrible position. If you get pinched up to that OB on the short side of the fairway, there's not a lot of options other than up the tunnel. So we'll see how her shot ended up. There we go with the cart right there. That's Amy Lewis.
It looks like Jessica Weiss will be throwing next. And our cameramen haven't had a chance to move down this fairway yet because this is the chase card. So hopefully we're going to get everyone kind of spread out as hole 11 takes 2 or 3 cameras if you want to even attempt to cover it all. And we see Jessica getting the red flag in the out of bounds there.
It's such a tough shot from especially the angle we just saw Jessica throwing at. A backhand thrower, you're going to throw a big sky hyzer. With those trees tucked up on the right-hand side, it's really going to push your disc to the left. So carry her off the left. Lewis got either. This upshot is crazy.
It is. There's, as you mentioned, there's a few different options, but all of them are daunting. There's no easy way. You can just walk up this hole and say, well, okay, I'm just going to play conservative and I'm just going to take it off little piece by piece. Even when you're going with that approach, you still have to execute high-level shots. And you can get severely punished if they don't go well.
And if we can pull that map up of this hole, we can see what the players are looking at for their second shots. But there's OB on the left and the right. So these high hyzers, as they're coming in, have to be so accurate. So there's a side hill that slopes from the basket to the right, down the hill. So even those spike hyzers coming in can hit and roll. So no shot is safe.
Exactly.
And every player has to go for it one way or another.
Yeah, well, and we saw yesterday on the MPO side in the afternoon, at least, that this was really a stall point for the round. Everything was moving along very swiftly at about an hour and 20 minutes, maybe an hour and 30 minutes at this point, and then they got here and waited and waited and waited. And so that is something that factors in. Yesterday they were doing it in the middle of a downpour. Today, not so much, but that's something that you have to pace themselves for as well and have to deal with when they get to these big backups. And Paige Pierce just tickling that right side of the fairway, and I really like the position that she finished in. We'll see if what kind of options that gives her for her next shot.
I was holding my breath that entire time, but she's going to be in a perfect spot. You have to push it if you want to land exactly right at the edge of that tunnel. Oh, and the only thing in the way.
Kat says something about the roll out there. Yeah, she hits the one tree that's out there. However, it looks like it carried away from the tree enough so that it shouldn't impede her stance. So a little bit of a break after hitting that one tree. I love the line also there by Lisa, getting past the tree. We just saw Kat hit. More hyzer angle. Don't get behind that tree. All right. We'll see you from somewhere in the fairway in a moment.
And we are back with Paige Bjerkaas, but we just saw a little bit of the second card as they threw their upshots toward the basket. So we're going to be waiting for a little bit longer as they clear. Yeah, at this point, players are just looking, trying to familiarize themselves again with how tight this landing zone is. They need to make sure that they're crossing inbounds on their second shot.
See a little strategic meeting over there by between Catrina and Paige Bjerkaas. But meanwhile, we're going to head over to the green, and Vanessa Van Dyken looks to be challenging this OB line, but it looks like she's going to call over. It is actually a rule that if you do not have your card mates confirm if you're inbounds or out on a close call, that it can just be assumed that you're out of bounds. So anytime you have a close call and you want your card mates to be assured that you're inbounds or that you think you are, call them over just to get that confirmation, as we see Vanessa do right there, and that was well done. Oh, you have to get mad and kick your stuff around, Vanessa. And as Vanessa lines up, we also see their picture-in-picture. Bjerk is going with the high, wide hyzer. And Vanessa converts on the putt. We'll get back to Catrina here.
We get the red flag. I feel like, I mean, this group can reach the basket if they do put a move on it. And as we see right here, second card is still putting out. Here we have Rebecca Cox. She's putting for par. This will still keep her on pace for shooting one of the best rounds of the day. Nice putt from Rebecca. You're happy with par on this hole. Well, I'm happy with par. I'm sure she's happy with par.
I think everyone is ecstatic with par at this point. As we said, with just 39% of the field taking par, you're going to probably pick up a stroke or two on the rest of the field. And Lisa's up and over and finds herself inbounds.
Well, that's huge. Yeah, that was a nice throw by Lisa. It'll be interesting to see where Paige and Catrina will be taking their lies, but here is Paige just short of the tunnel, so she's going to have more of a hyzer shot. I think this is a good spot to be. I'm assuming Paige is going up and over. She's got a driver in her hand. If anybody can birdie this hole, it would be this lady right here. I don't know. Looks a little inside to get enough distance, but I could be wrong. Nice. She landed up onto that flat part of the green. She's going to have a putt. We could see, is this the first birdie?
It would be, in fact, the first birdie
And there we go, zooming
in the tournament on this hole. So I was trying to spit out both yesterday or today. This would be the first birdie that would be relinquished on hole 11 in any of the play on the FPO side.
So going back to Catrina Allen, not crossing anywhere safe. So she's taking it here again, still on the short side, having to contend with the tunnel.
I believe she's throwing an H1.
That's a good call. I could have at least called that one, Terry. Oh, my.
No.
I think the tree is in bounds, so she'll be able to take it from up there, but that kicked her straight to the right. There's another OB stroke for her on this hole.
Yeah.
These are kind of unwinding here, but...
Yeah, some struggle. Hole 11 is out to get the field, and right now Catrina is in the crosshairs.
And we're 10 holes in. We're on hole 11, and up to this point, Catrina has had all pars in one birdie. So there's up until then, give you it's gonna be this hole. So we're seeing her take her meter in. And thankfully from here it gets a little bit easier.
It does. There's a little reprieve. I wouldn't exactly say the next tee shot, so to speak, but yeah, as they're finishing out, now that you're on this second island, hopefully things, I don't know, look up for them. But still, there's a platform. There's still OB, so we'll see. And Catrina now making up for it and right next to the basket.
Wow, so that's unfortunate. 2 OBs for Catrina.
Like you're the hyzer the whole way.
Looks to be a triple bogey putt, but that will be just a drop in. And there behind those branches, Paige Bjerkaas marking with a towel. Hopefully she'll get a mini out there.
She's really got to dig for the mini. She's... Eureka! Kind of like Dora the Explorer out there. I think she's got it all dialed in there. Finding her mini, and she's going to take her lie.
she's tucked up on the left side of the green, so there's a lot more of those smaller trees in her way.
Looks like she got through the first portion of them, but not clean the entire way. So her putt will still be somewhat obstructed.
Yeah, that makes it really tough over there. If you could choose the perfect position, clearly it's on that right-hand side, on that flat area, and we're going to head back for Lisa Fajkus. This is the area that I'm talking about. She's got a nice look, open, soft little upshot there, and she will be right there for her par.
Yeah, really taking advantage of that nice smooth release, that approach game that she has, just a few feet behind the pin, and may walk away relatively unscathed.
Paige is just standing near her second shot. She's just at circle's edge or near and around, but she's eyeing up the putt that she has ahead of her for birdie. But first, the other Paige, getting hung up on the trees on the left-hand side. This will just be a layup. There's too much to risk to really go for it. But a little hot, heads down the hill. But she's right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I was just wondering, as that one looked like it got a little bit away from her. You're exactly right. She's, basically just trying to lay that one up, and it looked like she still gave it a little too much. And
A little hot.
Lil Paige, little hot. Coming in. I think that's her official rap name, Lil Paige. Lil Paige is what she goes by.
And there we go, Terry. The first birdie on this hole. That absolutely deserves the Zuka replay. Look at that putt. Wow, hit all parts of the basket, but stayed in. Huge putt for Paige Pierce. That's 3 birdies in a row. Another big putt. That was Paige Bjerkaas for her double bogey, unfortunately. But that was exciting.
It was. I mean, hole 11 definitely was not going to disappoint.
Holy cow. Strokes being handed back and forth.
Lisa with a great par, and we're going to see a 4-stroke swing. And so rarely can you ever say that in any division, on any hole. 4-stroke swing on hole 11. It did its job here today.
And Paige Pierce now takes the solo lead.
Oh my
Just
gosh.
like that.
Holy cow. Let's take a look at hole 12. It doesn't get any easier off this tee shot.
And we've just been creeping our way through this tight tunnel gap right off of the tee. You're teeing from out of bounds. So right now we're finally inbounds, just clearing the drop zone. Once you get out of that gap, lots of space out here. There is OP on the right. So if you turn it over, that could come into play. But then we narrow in again as we head toward the basket. And so those upshots, you got to find yourself a gap through the trees to give yourself an open putt. We saw yesterday the upshots were a little tricky, so making the putts even harder. But yeah, this is a tricky hole. So hole 11 just gets you warmed up, but lead change on one hole, 4 strokes. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, such a swing that took place. Catrina Allen hopefully regains her composure and is ready to go. And in fact, I felt like she kept herself in check, to be very clear there on that previous hole. But now she's got to take a deep breath and hopefully just collect her thoughts and know, of course, there's plenty of golf. We're almost at exactly the halfway point. We're just short of the halfway point that remains for this tournament. So, of course, plenty of golf to go. But to see such a dynamic shift, to see that go from her being now having the lead by 2, by taking the lead that's been given up on. When you talk about putts that can only be executed by some of our best females out there on the tour, you always are including both Paige and Catrina in that conversation. And this time, Paige stepped up for that hero shot and took the lone birdie. And it's like she's just barely maybe found herself outside of the gap on that one.
interesting shift. Now a little over halfway through this round. And that's a very nice drive by Lisa. That's all you need to do. Again, it's the biggest thing you got to focus on, and it's getting through this tunnel off the tee. You want to put a lot of power behind it, but really it's all about accuracy.
And just puring the gap is Lisa Bjerkaas. Wow, that would be quite a combo. Paige Bjerkaas, excuse me. And here's Catrina.
And another slip on the tee pad, but fights her way through the gap. We will catch up with all of these players just a little bit out of that tunnel.
How are you looking for live view batteries on that shot?
Disc golf is a relatively young sport, but its popularity makes it one of the fastest growing pastimes in the world. The PDGA is a not-for-profit, worldwide player organization dedicated to promoting the sport. Like a long drive off the tee, disc golf is soaring. So don't just be a witness to disc golf's explosive growth, be a part of it. Join the PDGA.
Back here on hole 12, Catrina Allen throwing her second shot. Just trying to find a way to get into that wooded area.
And it doesn't look like she penetrated into the trees yet, so she might have about 50 trees between her and the basket. From as short as these drives are, you need to punch it up. Get yourself close to the basket. Oh, wow.
And trying to play a bank shot off one of the trees. Looks like to be successful there by Pierce. Really good speed. It looked like it was going to carry a little bit past the basket, but I believe it hit one of the trees and stopped for her. And Bjerkaas would love to duplicate that effort. And just as effective. Great shot by Paige Bjerkaas.
Yeah, but this is a nice view from behind the basket. That's the tunnel that the players are aiming for. That's the clearest route to get underneath the basket. So Lisa's stepping out just to take another look. She's at a kind of an awkward angle to attack that little gap in the trees. She's got to go around that bushy tree, still in the fairway.
Yeah, you saw her even kind of maybe shake her head for a moment there as if she's just a little undecided as to what the best route is. She, looks like she's safe sliding in there. Safe at second base and safe right next to the basket.
It's so interesting. I mean, Lisa really puts everything into each one of her throws. She's so committed. You know, you see shots like that and the follow through and really gives it everything. And you'll even see that on her sidearms, just to really put a lot of power on it. You'll see her almost drop to one knee most of the time just to get that punch that she needs to get a little power behind it. But here is Catrina's lie. Thrown two. This putt would save her par.
So what, is she leading?
Yeah, by 2.
Oh, again, just...
That was a huge hole.
Wow.
11.
Just short, hitting the chains, but not enough forward momentum to stick into the basket.
Well, it's just gonna continue.
Wow. That can play into your mental game a little bit, too. After losing almost a handful of strokes on the previous hole, and now opportunity to lose another stroke. Hopefully Catrina can get her mindset back and get back to that consistent play we have seen up until the last 2 holes.
Yeah, it just a little bit of a struggle right now. Of course, you can understand with how difficult they are, but we're going to move on to hole 13. I'm not sure it gets any easier here.
Hole 13 is a par 4, 440 feet. Again, have you heard this before? There's OB on the left and the right and surrounding the basket. So,
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'm sensing a theme here.
Yes, exactly. So much OB on this course. So the first drive starts off, you want to be clearing that green fairway the whole time. So even if you do go out of bounds, you're still going to get a lot of distance off that drive. To make it a little bit easier on this upshot, we've got a side hill on the left-hand side. We've got blackberry bushes creeping in on the right-hand side. So that really makes the accuracy very important for your upshot. But this is a good opportunity for a birdie. And I think after those last few holes, I think players are looking for a little bit of an easier hole. But I don't know if I can even say that.
Well, you can. And we've actually got statistics to prove it. This is coming in as the easiest hole on the course right now for today's round.
Nice.
So we've seen 15 women thus far already complete the hole, and it's coming in as what they're saying is the 18th most difficult. In other words, it's the easiest. And so we've seen plenty of birdies out here today. In fact, 53% of the people that have played it, of the women, in terms of the field, 8 players have already birdied this. A third of the players have taken the par, and 13% went above par. But some great birdies out here. I don't want you to say you just got to go out and get it, but this is one of the holes that maybe after those two that were the two previous hole, very stressful. Maybe even a struggle for Catrina on that last putt that didn't stay in for her. This is one where they can go out and attack 440. I mean, you have to think about having a controlled shot that's 280, 300 feet. That's a very easy up and down from there. So I'd love to see dissect this hole and go out and attack it and increase those numbers to continue to make it the easiest hole out on the course statistically. So 440 feet, like we said, Val. When you think back to playing here a few years ago, did you ever break it down in terms of section of a course, or were you more of, I'm just going to take it one hole at a time? Was there ever any point where you thought, okay, let's go attack here, or let's be a little more conservative here? Were any of those thoughts ever in your mind a few years ago during the Worlds?
Yeah, I think every course is different. I think a course like this, it definitely has its sections and a couple of holes that pile up to challenge, or when a few birdie holes are coming, you have to kind of hype yourself up and talk yourself into getting into that mind frame. There's other courses, like the course that comes to mind is Maple Hill. Playing on that course, every hole is its own challenge, and so there's really no rhythm you can get into. Every hole you just need to step up to, have a good game plan, and attack it. But of course, like this, I think Paige Pierce is getting a little bit of a momentum here. Super challenging holes that we've just played, and she's made her way pretty cleanly through those.
Yeah, through the last few. It looks like she may have received the red flag, unfortunately, during that last drive. She really put a move on it, and looks like it might have had just a little bit too much heat. I love the angle here. And right in the center of the fairway. That's a great shot by Lisa Fajkus.
And that was really nice. She had enough pop onto that disc to flip it up a little bit, allow it to ride straight, giving herself a good amount of distance. Paige Bjerkaas taking a little bit of safer route, just choosing to go pure hyzer the entire way. So playing the right-hand side of the fairway to bring it back in. Let's see how much Catrina wants to bite off on this drive. Hanging it off to the right. Can this come back in bounds? And no, another red flag for Catrina. We'll catch up with them at Catrina's Lie in just a minute.
When you order from Dynamic Discs, we do our best from start to finish. First, we receive your order from the website and print out the packing slip detailing the specific items you selected. Then, your order is pulled directly from the shelves, packed in a cardboard box to prevent bending during transit, and quickly on its way to you with free shipping. For every purchase online with Dynamic Discs, you'll receive rewards points so you can save on your next order. We'll work with you to make sure you get the exact disc you're looking for. For anything from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs, head to dynamicdiscs.com.
Before each round, inspect the clamps in the handle pole and tighten if needed. Many Zuka Kart users have found the middle pole section to be the most effective place to attach it. Also, you can remove the pouch without undoing the Velcro. If you are flying to a tournament or disc golf vacation, the cart easily disassembles and packs into a suitcase and can be checked as baggage.
And we are back here on hole 13. We got Catrina Allen just marked her OB tee shot. She'll be throwing her second shot here. So we have Catrina is out of bounds. Pierce was out of bounds off the tee. But Lisa and Paige Bjerkaas are safely in the fairway. Catrina for the sidearm route. I saw it land in, and to confirm it, the spotter throws up that green flag. She'll be setting herself up for a good putt. Again, it's a par 4, so she has the possibility to save that.
And Paige Bjerkaas.
Oh! Wow. Getting the spotter excited. Another huge run at an upshot, nearly cashing it. Paige is dialing in those upshots today.
Well, and this time it looks like it dropped right next to the basket, so the huge eagle run should easily net her still the birdie, as opposed to what we saw on hole 9. And Lisa, a little light on the approach there.
Oh, she's not going to be happy with that, but could set up Lisa for a big putt, which we know that she's very good at. So haven't seen her give herself too many of those jump putts today. So maybe this will get those started, and she needs to. I mean, she needs to get a birdie here. Having a little bit of back and forth kind of round today. She's at even par. So
Yeah,
birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie, bogey.
Yeah, it's been a real
Hopefully-
roller coaster there for her.
Hopefully making this putt will get her back under par.
And by the way, Rebecca Cox, since I gave the update and the stats for this hole, Rebecca Cox went on to birdie it, so taking yet another one, and she now moves to 4 under through hole 13. She's on the tee of 14 right now. So just an incredible round by Rebecca.
Wow, and yeah, you need to head over to UDisc Live and check out these scores right now. Rebecca's moved herself up 3 places today. She's tied for second right now with Catrina. So coming in from the second card, sneak attack. Let's see, Paige here.
Yeah, it looks
hoping
like
to get her disc back.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and throw.
and Paige waiting for just a moment.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's always a good sign. You never want to lose a disc, especially when it's not in a pond or a lake or anything like that. So thank you to the spotters out here on hole 13 and all the spotters, and especially all the spotters in the rain yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on. Running it, hoping to save a birdie, but looks like Paige will be set up there for her par.
Thank you.
Paige giving it a long run. It looks like it's gone about maybe 15 or 18 feet past the basket. But really, all of the momentum in Paige's favor at the moment, as she has birdied 3 out of the last 4 holes. And in doing so, has picked up more than a handful of strokes on Catrina.
Okay, well, Lisa's shot isn't as short as we thought she was. She's inside the circle, but on this hillside. And there's that strong putt from Lisa. saving a birdie. Nicely played. She should be very happy about that. Back to under par.
And let's hope that she continues to trend that way. It seems like in fact, almost every time that she's taken a birdie, she's followed up with a bogey. So we'll see if she can change that up. Paige still takes the par here after going out of bounds.
There's Lisa's scorecard, as you were just mentioning. Let's not mention those bogeys again, Terry. And Catrina taps in for her par. And last but not least, Paige Bjerkaas. She's playing for birdie. Nice. So 2 shots land in the fairway, give them the great opportunity for birdie. And we are moving on to hole 14. Hole 14, par 5, 875 feet. So looking at the course map there, and that red dot is actually the drone flying over this fairway. So this is a really awesome perspective that we're seeing. So we want the players to be landing right where that player is throwing from right there. That's the perfect first drive. Second drive, looking to land in this zone right here. The tall grass circles, those are out of bounds. The third shot should be clearing their way and heading toward the basket. Really only one huge tree on the left-hand side of that green to contend with. Otherwise, it's pretty wide open. So right now, all you have to do is just land it in between all that tall grass.
Okay, yeah, easier said than done. This is coming in as the 11th most difficult hole on the course. We've seen 15 of our competitors play it here today. And surprisingly, not at least yet, we didn't see Rebecca Cox, who's been making a charge. She is in the middle of playing this hole, so we haven't seen her complete it, but we do have just 3 birdies that have been given up here. Holly Finley, Sarah Holcomb, and Missy Gannon have all taken the birdies. So this is playing at 5.27, which, as we said, is just above par. However, when I look at it as opposed to yesterday, it's surprisingly playing tougher than yesterday, where it just played at 5.09. So kind of interesting. The conditions, I would say, are a little bit better than yesterday morning at this point. So to see that it's playing a little bit tougher, is there anything you could attribute that to? Any reason that you can think of?
I would say maybe just playing the hole for the very first time in the tournament. You just do what you need to do to get through.
More instinctual?
Yeah. And then as the second round comes in, you're hoping to make it that easy, and sometimes it just doesn't end up going that way. So I don't know. It's just slightly off of being a little bit more difficult, but really once you get off the tee, I mean, it's wide open. So it's about judging the distance, knowing how far you're going to throw that next shot, and if the OB is going to come into play or not. So really understanding the game plan on this. We did see Vanessa Van Dyken switch up her game plan.
Yeah.
She threw out of bounds way to the right on the tee, crushing her second shot. So sometimes when your drives don't end up where you want, you do have to switch up. But here, just about crushing a few big drives and really nothing else in your way besides tall grass.
Well, and unfortunately, speaking of switching up the game plan, Rebecca Cox, it shows us on the U-Disc if there's actually a throw tracker, so you can follow along and you can actually be notified of where every single throw results. And I'm seeing right now that it shows that she's on the fairway after 3 throws and that she has 1 OB already here on this particular hole. So Rebecca hopefully can find a way to make a recovery here, because she has just a great round going as she's sitting again 4 down through hole 13. She's opened with a double bogey. I'm not sure what had happened there, but since then, of course, cleaned things up and just having a phenomenal round right now. And to put that in perspective, she's sitting at 4 down for the round. Sarah Holcomb, who's also had quite a few birdies this round, has the second hottest round at 3 down. Madison Walker has Madison Walker sits at 2 down for the round, and then Lisa at 1 down. So, seeing that neither Paige or Catrina are leaders of the tournament, are even in the top 3 or 4 women for how this round is going is somewhat surprising to see. But
It is.
at the end of the day, it's the leaderboard, though, and you see Paige Pierce sits at even for the round and 5 under, and everyone else is kind of shifting and trying to move their way up the leaderboard.
But can you even imagine if Paige was able to hit any one of those putts in the first half of the round?
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been at least a handful more strokes that she would be under par, and another handful of strokes over the rest of the field. So her putt has not been on. Her just game in the entirety hasn't looked as confident as we know Paige is. So it could be more up to this point, but it's just been the last couple of holes that really have changed the whole game.
Oh, he just gave you. Okay, wow. That was not very good.
Is that part of the chicken dance? Is that the move she was giving, the double safe sign when you're... Yeah, okay. Either way, it looks like Lisa might be safe on her shot. Paige looks like she has now shed a layer here. Things are maybe getting a little bit warmer out on the course.
Nice throw. Able to turn it, flip it up a little bit, get some distance, just perfectly in the middle of the fairway. I love an enthusiastic spotter, especially when the green flag is waving. Even if you're right in the middle of the fairway, I still love it.
It's a little more of that affirmation.
Yeah,
Makes you feel good.
Good shot. Good shot.
And I like the crush here by Pierce. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's huge. So we can see Paige Bjerkaas' shot, and then Paige Pierce threw about 80 feet past that. So impressive, the distance that she can get on the drives. And let's see if Catrina can match up. Turning it over a little bit more, getting that distance. And that's a huge crush. Middle of the fairway. We'll catch up with them in just a minute.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
What do you think flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is the sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen. Cheers. Ooh.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a hard day.
That's great.
Again, thank you to OTB Disc, along with all of our sponsors here of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, including our live YouTube coverage sponsor, Dynamic Disc. We want to thank Bevel Beer, and of course, we have to thank Discraft as a presenting sponsor here of the tournament. Jeff Spring and the rest of the crew, Zoe Andike, Dustin Keegan, as we watch Lisa Fajkus with a big smile on her face that covers over the second island, OB Island, and she's found herself inbounds there.
You say it's charging, Johnny, now?
That was nice to see that they did put the wall barricading the out of bounds, the front of the OB and not the back, so she was able to cut right through there and land safely in bounds. But it's such a good visual, just how that they've maintained this course and how perfectly cut the fairways are. And then the OB, of course, it needs to be rough. It should be rough, and just really highlights how much out of bounds there is on this course.
Quite the stark contrast between the short and the long grass, of course. And Rebecca Cox, quick update, did save her par on this hole, so she remains at 4 under for the round and 2 down overall. And there's a good-looking shot there by Paige Bjerkaas. So Rebecca has moved up those 3 spots into a tie for second with Catrina at the moment. Again, sits at 2 under overall and 3 off the pace of Paige Pierce. Gonna head over.
See the clouds breaking and a little bit of blue skies are coming out as Catrina crushes her shot just short of that second OB circle, but she's playing off to the left-hand side, so there's a lot more space. She's able to get a little bit more aggressive on that second shot, give herself a little bit more distance, and make it a little bit easier on her upshot to the basket. It's a really good play. We saw her do this yesterday, and she's able to execute it nearly perfect again today.
Well, I'm going to take another look at the statistics that we find here from hole 13. They're continuing to shift, or should I say hole 14, they're continuing to shift. Everything, of course, updating on the fly with every single shot that's thrown. All of that magic takes place behind the scenes over at UDisc, and all the UDisc servers, Matt and Josh, working so tirelessly. Well, maybe they have their computers doing all the real work now, but those guys are the geniuses behind UDisc, as Paige Pierce getting a running... Wow, she takes a really aggressive run up, but then looked to be a little bit frustrated upon the release. And it was tough for us to determine exactly where that came down. But it seemed like she turned it over. Didn't have either enough air on it and get a full flex, or she just turned it over too much and hit her line on that lower level, but turned it over too much. I'm not sure which was the case, but...
And it's all about the height, but with that tall grass and those OBs, and there's so many bushes and trees and small bushes and trees, but if you do not have the right height, you're not able to carry it over the out of bounds. But here's the leaderboard. Paige Pierce is still at the top, but you never know what's going to happen. There's so much out of bounds. There's so much trouble to get into, and we still have a good amount of holes left, and there's a lot of tricky shots still up ahead.
Yeah, we're talking in the neighborhood. We have to, of course, complete this round. So we're looking at, 4.5 holes plus all of 18 holes tomorrow. So we invite you to join us. We're going to be back at 9 a.m. Pacific. So please make sure you tune in. That's 12 o'clock Eastern. And then both today and tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific, we'll be here following the action yet again. And Lisa clearing that second swath of grass and OB area, so it looks like she's gonna have a long jumper. And what I love about her being on that side of the basket is you see the tree that's hanging over off on the right side of the frame right now. If you're over, of course, on that side of the fairway, those limbs can come into play when you have a long jumper. With the side that Lisa's on, she's gonna have a wide open jump putt to try and cash in here on hole 14.
And those are all the interesting things you have to pay attention to as you're playing holes like this. Setting yourself up for a wide open upshot or an easier, shorter upshot, or setting yourself on the good side of the basket. So let's see what Paige Bjerkaas chooses to do. She's got a few options, but yeah, parking it's a good option too.
Yeah, I'll take option A, the park job.
Nice shot from Paige Bjerkaas. She's playing this hole really solid, not even having to deal with those branches at all.
Trying to keep things stress-free.
So heading back to Catrina Allen. This is her second shot. She's throwing 3 on this par 4. Excuse me, par 5.
And option A again, she opts for.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tap-in birdie for her. That's what we saw yesterday out of her. And with Paige Pierce possibly going out of bounds, we could see Catrina gaining a few more strokes, getting those strokes back from what she previously lost this round. And the battle is still on. Momentum shift just can happen on one hole so easily with so much out of bounds.
Yeah, it's circle 2. 1, 2. No, it's me and me. Yeah.
So here is Lisa's look.
This is Lisa for a birdie attempt. She's just about at the edge of circle 2, so right around that 66-foot mark, or 20 meters for all of our international followers. I'll do that quick math for you.
Drop it in.
Oh.
Nice flight, nice stability on that disc. Just not dialing it up perfectly, but here we go. We see Paige walking to her disc right now, and I don't think that was frustration. Maybe she threw that second shot and just knew she had it. So quickly just grabbing her bag. And so now we are completely wrong, and this could be a change up in Paige's favor. She's putting for eagle.
Definitely aggressive. That goes up and over the basket, trying to cash that one in. And she's left herself with a little bit of a comeback now.
And this would be for birdie to match Catrina's birdie. She was right on line. It was so center of the basket, but about a foot too high. So it really sailed her past and beyond. See if she can focus and hit this putt. And
wow.
She does.
Good. Great putt there by Paige. I was certainly worried she was looking at a eagle opportunity, and had she not made that, she would have just walked away with the par. So just all the emotions even going on with us as we're watching this. You're seeing, a drop-in birdie by Catrina. She's lining that up, thinking that she may be picking up a stroke, and then we realize that Paige is in fact putting for the eagle, but goes deep, has to make a tester to come back. Lots of things going on here, and we've got to close out round number 2. We've still got 15 through 18 and all of tomorrow. Let's take a look. Hole 15 is no walk in the park. Val, what's the plan?
Hole 15, it's a par 4, 780 feet. And as we see this drone flying right up the middle, the first drive is important to land yourself as far up the fairway as possible to make the second shot a little bit easier. We saw that Paige was able to card a birdie on this hole. There's a lot of trees in the second half of this fairway. So as we round the corner, there we go. We finally see the basket. So it involves 2 big crushing shots to get yourself up to the basket, but those trees can really hang up the players. And again, OB, guess where it is? Left, right, and beyond. So lots of OB still if you're not able to get your disc to land in the middle of the fairway.
Well, and like yesterday, this is playing as one of the most challenging holes on the course. Right now, it is coming in for this round as the fourth most difficult. There has been 0 birdies out here so far today. And if I recall yesterday, I think we saw just 1 birdie, and that was in fact the case. And Paige Pierce was the lone birdie here. So we'll see if she can do that again today. But Bjerkaas with, I feel like, exactly the spot you want to land in. You could ask for a little bit more distance maybe, but I feel like pushing that left side OB is exactly what you want to be doing, because that's ultimately going to bring you a little bit closer to the basket. And at nearly 800 feet, I feel like you need every foot closer that you can get if you want to try and take a birdie here. And Paige, oh no, Paige Pierce challenges that right side OB and loses. It looks like that carried over the fence.
That was a bomb.
It was, but
just a few feet too long. So that OB does cut to the left, and
that's going to come back, we
using
think.
some body language. Yep,
Yep.
Right in the middle of the fairway.
Okay, and good shot there by Catrina. So the door has opened for Catrina now to maybe gain a little bit of that momentum, or at least stop some of the momentum that we've seen Paige run away with for the last few holes.
Lisa putting a little bit of flip on that. But nice, safe shot. But you see where Lisa landed, not compared to the huge crushes we saw out of Kat and Paige. And we will catch up with them in the fairway in a minute. back on hole 15 as Lisa Fajkus is checking out the entire fairway, or maybe just getting a second warm-up in. Do a little sidestep. Maybe she'll bust out the karaoke next, but making sure she's got her eye on the plan and where she wants to land this second shot. Again, tightens up a little bit. They're in the open part of the fairway, but lots of trees. You have to work their way around. And it's a little high, little left. Oh, but she is nestled up next to the tree, but safely in bounds.
Should be a routine approach up and down from there to walk away with the par.
And it's beautiful to see the sun finally popping out. A place like this, I mean, Portland gets a ton of rain, but it makes it so green. And so when the sun pops out, there's no better place to be in the world. One of the most beautiful locations here in the Northwest. And the tour gets to hang out here for the next 2 weeks after this tournament. So lots of fun stuff to do for these touring players. And Paige Bjerkaas also high left, but I think she's right on the edge. I think that's going to be in bounds.
It's going to be very close. In the other view, we see her kind of smack herself on the head with a little bit of frustration. And we'll have to get over there and see as our camera gets closer later. She doesn't know it, just how close she is to the OB. We think she's going to be surprised and hopefully a little bit happy or relieved that it looks like she's going to be in bounds. But we'll have to see as we get closer. Now, Catrina trying to take advantage, and she also finds herself kicking left.
It's like a vortex, just pulling everybody over to the left-hand side, not flipping the disc up enough or not turning it over enough. But here we see Paige asking Lisa for the line.
And as we continue to watch the scores come in, Paige is going to get confirmation here. We see Sarah Hokum, after taking back-to-back birdies on the previous 2 holes, has now double bogeyed hole 15 here. And Rebecca Cox, on the other hand, has taken a par, which at this point to many may feel like a birdie because this hole is so difficult. I think we're going to see exactly 0 birdies here again on this hole today. So that would be just a single birdie between hole rounds 1 and 2, and the lone person to capture one was, in fact, Paige Pierce.
And seeing where Paige has landed, I'm assuming this is where she landed yesterday, just gives her a really good angle riding up the right-hand side of the fairway, which plays really well for a backhand thrower.
Yesterday in birdieing this hole, she put herself within 5 feet of the pin on her second shot.
And I believe that went out of bounds. Again, that vortex pulling the disc off to the left-hand side. That large bush that we had in frame, I think she flew into there. But just throwing her disc a little bit too high and maybe a little bit nose up, a little early. Yeah, it's not playing out as well for her today as it did yesterday.
Yeah, and just before we cut back to the booth, we were seeing the Disc Golf Pro Tour flags on the right side, and it didn't look as if they were blowing whatsoever. So the winds are very low or calm, almost non-existent out there. I think we're going to see more of that this afternoon, and we're also right around that time frame where we can start just taking a little glimpse at what we're seeing on the MPO side as well. Of course, our leaders are going to be coming in at 3 p.m. Pacific time today, but some of our earlier cards have already had it out on the course. They've been out there for a little while now. We'll see what kind of moves can be made on the MPO side as we wrap up and see the last few holes play out on the FPO side of things as well. So as I just mentioned, we invite you to rejoin us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's noon Eastern, when we're going to bring you the final round here of the FPO tournament at the Portland Open.
Right up this tree. More Lisa than you than me.
And just getting a little confirmation as Paige Bjerkaas is letting everyone know who's out and who's going to be throwing next. It looks like Lisa's lining up an option or two. I think she's going to favor ultimately the backhand here. Looks to be a little bit pinched up against the tree.
Wow, nice throw.
Yeah.
With that tree being so close, I wasn't sure she was going to have a clean enough reach back, but cures that upshot. And we're going to move over. We have all the players here on the left-hand side of the fairway.
And Catrina, with her standstill, very controlled, putting herself right next to the pin. And that's a great recovery shot from there.
So let's zoom in here on what Paige Bjerkaas is marking off, and it was just out of bounds. So she's just going to lay up there. She'll be putting for her bogey. Lots of OBs coming to play on this hole today.
Well, but I'll say even for us, Val, as we were looking at that from the initial angle that we saw, I thought that had found the OB, but then maybe kicked back inbounds. And so, you know, we were even thinking, okay, she may be pleasantly surprised when she walks up, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. I was just going to say almost identical throw and an identical result here as all three of those discs are just past the basket by a few feet.
Wow, and so another game changer hole. Paige Pierce will be putting in her double bogey. Catrina with a bogey. I mean, that's what we're looking at here, but
Yeah.
It looks like Lisa Fajkus is the only one that's going to look at a par on this hole. And we see the players trying to find their discs that ended up there, and I think this would be Paige Pierce, her second shot. Yeah, this has been a rough hole, but Catrina, if she's able to tap this putt in, she will gain a stroke on Paige, tighten the gap down to 2-stroke difference. But Paige is sitting solidly in that first place position. This will give Lisa a good opportunity to gain a few strokes on both of them, as Lisa's sitting in 4th place right now. And we see Rebecca Cox still hanging in there in 3rd place. I mean, just playing awesome golf. So many birdies on Rebecca's scorecard. And she's been playing great all season. It's been so fun to watch her play. She's got such a solid game. Her drives are on point. She has such an interesting technique and setup before each one of her drives and her upshots. But she's got just an insane amount of whip and follow through. And her putts, when she's putting good, she's hitting just about everything.
Yeah, I would add to that, you know, I've really watched her progress throughout the last few years in following the FPO division, and I feel as if her putting was maybe one of her weaknesses in the past, and I feel like she has certainly gotten over that and has made a few adjustments because, you know, to go out here and have a round like she is today and put up some of the other rounds we've seen from her this year, that's something she's clearly worked on and has hopefully become a stronger part of her game, as Lisa also a very, very effective putter, and she's going to walk away with the par here. And once we watch the 3 women on the card tap in, I think we're going to see the difficulty actually rise on this hole. It was the 4th most difficult. It's going to be the 3rd or 2nd by the time they're done.
Yeah, surprisingly, that was a tough one. And hole 15 is done. We're heading on to hole 16. Par 4, 525 feet. First part of this hole, I think you can break it down into a few different parts. First part is this drive that will put you into the circular landing zone, setting yourself up for the second shot, which you have to clear this out of bounds. You can see it tighten up here, and we get to that pinch point where the trees come into play on the left and the right-hand side, and you have to really shoot through the gap, get yourself enough distance with that white flag there at circle 2. You don't want to end on the edge of that tunnel. Otherwise, you have a big putt ahead of you. So you want to punch through that pinch point. And yeah, this could be an opportunity for birdie if they're able to get their upshots close enough. Because I think that's the biggest part of this hole.
Yeah, you know, I think back to a few of the holes. This hole almost finishes as if you were playing hole 4 over again, where it starts kind of on a wider side and then eventually just kind of funnels down with OB right near the basket. And if it's not OB, there's at least woods and a lot of challenge near the basket. And that's what kind of makes me think of it that way. We see Vanessa Van Dyken right now in this initial landing zone. And this is just a really high pressure shot, because if you have to come in flat, and there is OB on that, both the left and the right side, as you were just talking about, it looks like she got the green flag there. I feel like if you walk away here with a 4, you're not going to be too upset about it. You know, a par is a really good score here. You know, some people that are following along, we appreciate the chats and the updates. You know, as we finish out this course, you think about what looms. 17 is just past this one, and you have to think: are you in attack mode? Are you in maintenance mode? You know, are you trying to stop any previous injury or bleeding, so to speak? Once you've gotten to this point, those are all things that you're factoring in as you're trying to close out the round and thinking even to where your position will be on that final day during that final round. And right now, 16, 17, 18. I think most, if you said to them, hey, I'd offer up par on all 3, I think everyone would take it and say, yeah, let's call it a day. So
yeah, exactly.
We'll see if that happens.
On any point of this round or on any hole, you can never just get comfortable. There's so much of that out of bounds everywhere on this course. And each shot requires just so much focus and concentration to land yourself so accurately. And then just set yourself up for the next shot and the next shot on these longer holes. But yeah, it's tough. You can't relax. You can't ever let up off the gas. So I think these ladies are going to be pushing it until the end.
Well, and you think about how relatively open this course is, but yet at the same time, there's still plenty of position golf simply because of those OBs that come into play. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I got to give a lot of credit to, of course, Dave Felberg, who was out here. I believe he was the primary designer of this course, and just really trying to think about landing zones and the most applicable way that we can have make use of the land, even though it doesn't have a lot of the natural obstacles in the trees or rivers or things of that nature. This long grass is a great way to accomplish that.
You play some of those courses where all you have to deal with is the man-made out of bounds, but I think this has to be one of the most challenging ones. It's relatively flat piece of property, but with so much of that out of bounds coming into play and really shaping the holes, just makes it such interesting golf. You see Paige Bjerkaas on the tee. It's a really routine upshot. I mean, you shouldn't get offline here. Big landing zone. And as like most of the holes out here, I think the drives are relatively easy, but then it's the second half of these holes that just really, really tighten up and are really way more technical. So Paige coming off of that double bogey at this point, can't even push it, needs to put herself in that landing zone, and it's like all the players are off and running, and we'll be back in a minute.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here. Looks like I just saw Jessica Weiss tap in on hole number 16. And it looks like she may, in fact, have been the final woman to tap out, actually, on 16. Hole 16, a little bit on the statistical side, coming in as the 11th most difficult, averaging 4.11. And also noting that there's been just 4 birdies here today. So, spoiler alert. Madison Walker, Zoe Andyke, Ruby Hall, and Kona Star-Panis, the 4 birdies. Rebecca Cox on the tear did take the par.
Just knowing right out of her hand, the release point was just not there, needing to hang it off to the right and allowing the disc to do the work. But Paige is sitting there. We can see her disc. She's at circle's edge. A little bit of better line from Catrina. Oh, and very nicely done. Just gifts it up next to the basket. That'll be a nice drop in. Well, drop up. We're still have an elevated basket, so we can't count those putts just yet.
A little bit light on the approach there by Bjerkaas.
She's well outside the circle. Yeah, that's a tough one there. But look how close Lisa Fajkus is to the out of bounds, but farthest drive of the group. But pushing it a little bit there.
I was just going to say, certainly challenging that OB line.
Living on the edge.
I see what you did there. I like it.
This can tend to be one of the more difficult shots. You have to throw it perfectly straight. And the tall grass hanging her up. We see slowly the red flag and the spotter confirming that it is out of bounds. And isn't I just saying those are tough shots?
Yeah, it's so surprising to see that she put herself in such a great position. Maybe almost even a relief that she did find her tee shot inbounds, closest to the basket. Really, just a shot you would expect her to execute with ease, and she low and flat, and unfortunately just did not come back to the basket. Oh, that is not what I would have expected there by Lisa.
No, that is just a silly mistake. And we can see at the bottom of our screen, I mean, Lisa is in it. We've seen Paige and Catrina. I mean, they're the ones at the top battling first and second, but Lisa has been playing so consistently strong. She's at 1 under for the tournament. And to have an error like that is not what she needs right now, but able to lay up her shot there. But she's in the running still.
Yeah, she is. And once she taps that in, she'll take a bogey. She will move back to par, which is exactly where she started the day. So that means she'll have 4 bogeys and 4 birdies on the day. And she'll be still sitting in 4th place at even par. Paige Bjerkaas, however, could come up and tie her. If Paige can make this putt, that would push her back to even, which is also where she started the day. Bjerkaas has about 42 feet. Oh, and a really good run. She had it basket high, playing to that slightly elevated pin, but off her mark on the right side. So with that, if she can get up and down and have that quick, easy tap in, she'll remain at that +1, which is exactly what she's at for this round.
Forcing to do a straddle putt. Just not enough reach. Paige is definitely putting a little bit more thought into each of her putts today, and she just needs to get out of her head. We know she can hit those kind of putts, but Paige will be putting for par. This will be...
Oh, no, and Bjerkaas, that one slides out on the left side. It danced there for just a moment and unfortunately fell out.
And here we go. To capitalize on this, this is for birdie. And that was a birdie for Catrina Allen, taking the solo birdie. Lisa Fajkus gets a bogey on that one. And we are on to 17. It's a par 4, 530 feet. And this hole is an interesting one. We can see there's just so many more trees. Doesn't feel like we're playing Blue Lake anymore, but we are having to maneuver through all sorts of trees. We see players playing this left-hand route, a few hundred tunnels that you can fight your way through. But as we make our way here, we've got that white stake marking how far?
I believe someone had said 400 feet. Does that sound right?
No, that doesn't sound right.
200?
400 from the basket? Okay.
I don't know.
Cool. Good talk. So there's the basket there. It's got a little bit of that dirt green, so we might expect a few rollaways if you're coming in hot, but players just need to survive this hole. Play it for par. Find yourself throwing through the biggest openings you can find, but yeah, there's a million trees here.
This is coming in as the 10th most difficult. A moment ago, before we got back here, we saw I saw in another camera angle, we saw Rebecca Cox throwing her tee shot. Looked to be a pretty good one. Vanessa there, high and left. I think she wanted more of a turnover.
So interesting. We saw Vanessa, throwing. That's where her drive landed yesterday, but somehow she found this miracle window and fought her way all the way to the basket from there. So maybe that's part of her play. At this point, it kind of has to be. That was Amy Lewis, also ending up on the left-hand side of the fairway. And last on the box, we have Jessica Weiss. And I love that we get a little bit of extra coverage featuring the second card here today. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for the live coverage. Sun's out. Jessica's got her sunglasses on and finds her way up the fairway a little bit, but a lot of work to do still.
Well, there is. And here we are on hole number 17. I'm going to say there's probably even almost a relief that as they walked up to hole number 17, only seeing the second card there. This is, if you were out here or you come out in a very competitive tournament or format out here, I'm guessing more often than not, when you arrive on hole 17, there could be anywhere from a 1 to a 4 group backup. And today, thankfully, we're just seeing the chase card there. This hole is daunting. It's long, it's challenging, it's punishing. And then to know that more often than not, you may walk up to it and have to wait 5 or 10 or 15 minutes to play it, can just really mess with you. It can take you out of your rhythm. And, as maybe they even talk about icing the kicker in football, you certainly cool down when you're in a groove or a momentum out on the course. And thankfully, that looks like it's going to be relatively brief during this, as they approach hole 17's tee area. So we're going to try and give you some more of the action as best as we can. We know Rebecca Cox having a great round out there. We continue to follow her as she has not had anything over par since her opening hole. And she sits at 4 down for the round. She's got 6 birdies on the day. And that looked clean from what I could tell.
And for this hole, it's all about the trees. There's not a ton of out of bounds on either side. So I didn't have to say that this time, but it's so technical. And so just fighting your way through the trees is the most time consuming. That's when those backups start to build up. But we flash Rebecca's scorecard there. She's playing some great golf today. And it's a little bit relieving coming on you're on the second card. You have a different level of competition playing with your card mates. So a little bit of that pressure is off, but Rebecca is taking advantage of that. And I'm expecting to see her on the card tomorrow going into the third round. Just unbelievable golf. It'll be fun to see how she attacks this course and how she's gotten these amazing strings of birdies.
A moment ago, we watched Jessica Weiss throw, and now it looks like Amy Lewis is going to move down the fairway. Something else that you have to consider when you look at both holes 11 and 17, Nate and I discussed it yesterday as well. They feel like the outliers of this entire course. Yeah. What you have to do on these 2 holes more than any other holes on the course is you have to scramble. You know, there's a lot of positions out here on the course. You throw an errant shot, it goes out of bounds. You simply bring it in bounds. You're probably in short grass, and then you're throwing your next shot. Holes 11 and 17, you're probably going to be reaching out, you know, whether it's a straddle position or a straddle stance. You may have your back to the basket. You may be challenged to throw a forehand that you're not incredibly comfortable with, or at least I know I wouldn't be. You know, those are all the types of scrambling shots that are required on these two holes that we don't see really in any other part of the course. I mean, of course, it's not wide open on the rest of the course, but these two holes in particular will definitely challenge every part of your game. And after seeing a backhand by Amy Lewis off the tee, and she runs back and maybe for a disc adjustment, it looks like she's lining up a forehand approach here. And that's exactly what I'm talking about on this type of hole.
Right. When you step up behind the lie, you never know what you're going to have to figure out. But I think it's great to see more and more FPO women utilizing both backhand and forehand shots. And it's funny,
I wasn't going to call you out exactly, but maybe ask you, is that something that, you know, when you're back in the competitive golf mode again, is that something that you want to try to attack on your side of the game?
Yeah, I think
you're
when I
not known
come
as
back,
a forehand player.
I'm gonna throw all forehand.
There you go. This would be the newly reinvented Valerie. Wow. I mean, 4 world titles, throwing almost 0 forehands, and then come back and win some with forehands. I like it.
Yeah.
The game plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got time to practice. Sure.
Yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah, we'll work on that. But for the time being, we're gonna let players like Rebecca Cox and these other ladies show off their skills, and Terry and I will practice our forehands.
Yeah,
in the off time.
exactly. in our spare time. I wonder if my forehand would be any better after a few Bevel beers.
Oh no, absolutely.
It can't get worse.
Yeah.
So I promise you that.
It's written on the side of the can for Disclandia.
May improve your forehand. And we saw Rebecca Cox throw her shot a moment ago. That also means as they're probably half or maybe 3/4 of the way down this fairway, that our lead card on the tee should be getting ready any moment now. I'm gonna wait, make sure everyone is clear.
This is just so, it's a tough hole to film. It's a tough hole to watch the players play and keep track of the throws, especially if they find themselves hitting a few trees all along the way. But see Vanessa there, just still hanging up on the left-hand side of the fairway. And I remember when Worlds was here back in 2014, there was a route on the right-hand side. And I feel like I'm always the one finding these weird, crazy routes, but I had to check out to see if it's still there.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen any of the players playing that route. It could be a little bit more grown in. That maybe they didn't clear that side of the fairway. So that would mean that tall grass, just about waist high. So maybe the players just don't even want to venture over there. But we're looking at Catrina Allen on the tee pad, and I'm seeing that route might still be open. Trees are a lot bigger than they were in 2014, but a lot more branches in the way. So maybe that's not right.
Well,
the right shot.
And as you're speaking, and we're about to watch Jessica Weiss throw her shot, it feels like almost every time I kind of dial in and look at the details on any given hole as to where the birdies are coming from, as this comes in as the 10th most difficult, I see that I'm constantly seeing Kona Starpanis as like one of the few birdies. And then immediately I thought, well, I feel like that's on almost every other hole. Well, sure enough, Kona has racked up. She's in the clubhouse now today. She did finish ultimately with a 2 under.
Yeah.
So a really good round out there. And she had 6 birdies. So I guess that kind of it fuels the intuition that I had, where I kept seeing her as one of the few birdies on any particular hole. Well, she went out and got just as many as anyone else on the course today. And so in the clubhouse, making a few adjustments from yesterday, and we see her sitting -2. She moved up 7 spots and will put herself on the chase card. And here's Catrina. That looked low right out of her hands and off to that left side.
After a little bit of waiting on the tee pad, that's that little bit of icing the thrower. She had taken the solo birdie on hole 16. So she's in a good spot still. I mean, she's right in the cut grass. She should have a good look down the rest of the fairway. But I know players want to get as much distance off the tee, and that ended up really nice, even though nicking that branch.
Yeah, I don't think that's part of the game plan, but it seemed to make a very subtle but yet fruitful adjustment for her.
Now this part right off the tee looks like the fairway. But after players throw this drive, they're going to just have a lot of trees to deal with. A nice shot from Lisa, ending at the feet of our cameraman out there and almost missing her shot, but we didn't.
No.
We did not.
There needs to be a UDisc stat for that. All right, we're going to catch up with Catrina's drive in just a moment. And welcome back, everyone. Again, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Valerie Jenkins on a beautiful Sunday during Memorial Day weekend here, 2019. Quick shout out, Discraft, thank you so much for all of the support here to make the Portland Open happen, along with Bevel, that, of course, being Nate and Val's brewery. You guys opened back in April. You've been, dare I say, overwhelmed with the outpouring of support and amount of people and visitors and patrons to your place. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're 3 hours from Portland, so you have to cross over the Cascade Mountains. But we've had so many people come visit us, and it's been so awesome. So Bend isn't on the way to much of anything unless maybe you're heading from here to Boise or Boise to the coast. But we've had a lot of people make the pit stop and make the extra jaunt over to Bend on their travels. So we've met a lot of people on the way to Santa Cruz. And it was amazing to have the Pro Tour now coming to Oregon. So before this event, we had Paul Ulibarri drive on into our parking lot with a massive Discraft RV. So I got to see my face on the side of this RV. And funny because we're on this property with a few other businesses, and they know we play disc golf. Our brewery is themed disc golf and designed around different elements of the sport. But when you see a huge vehicle with one of the owners' faces on it, there were multiple selfies and Instagram posts about it. So
awesome.
That was pretty awesome. And Big Germ was there. Sarah Hokum came out, and Brian Earhart. So it was a fun gang hanging out before the tournament. But
awesome.
I do expect more players as we have 2 more weeks here in Oregon to stop out to Bend.
Yeah, during this whole
Give us a little visit.
northwest coast swing, all of that. So great to see. We just watched Paige Pierce throw a very clean shot for her second shot. Also, a moment ago, I saw Rebecca Cox throw. She completed hole number 17, and I was going to just double check with you, Disc.
Kind of playing on that bike trail right there. Yeah, where they're at. And we are not missing this shot as Paige has taking her full allotment of time to figure out which gap she wants to shoot through. But I mean, look at this lie. There's a million options she can go for, but looks like she's found one on the right hand side.
Body English may have to tell the story. Well, the gallery seems to like it, so hopefully Paige does as well.
This is a nice view from behind the basket, making it just look so easy and approachable. But we know the players from these second shots, we still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and it looks like hole 17 with the only blemish that we've seen in quite some time for Rebecca Cox. Hole 17, actually a double bogey here for Rebecca. So that's going to halt a little bit of that momentum that she had. She's still in a tie for third along with Lisa, and she's still at even overall and 2 down for the round. But unfortunately, she did, when we watched her tap in a few moments ago, that was for double bogey 6. And Lisa with another slide.
Sees that body language, just getting everything into that throw. Her feet were placed behind her behind the disc, so no footfall. But Paige was checking out the live we saw on the second camera. But yeah, interesting body language that Lisa puts behind her shots. So another tricky shot up ahead for Catrina Allen.
And while Catrina does that, I'm going to take a quick look at what we're seeing for possibly lead card or chase card tomorrow. We're starting to get to that point in the conversation as Madison Walker moved up 6 positions. She's in a tie for third. She birdied holes 16 and 18 to close out her round and has the hot round of the day going right now at 4 under par. She's in the clubhouse, and she is currently tied for third. And the patent pending standstill shot. What a great shot by Catrina Allen. Wow, just lacing the gap with her back to the hole. And she's going to put herself right up next to the pin. What a great shot.
Really nice shot. And we haven't even talked about Madison today. And she just so silently creeped her way up the leaderboard, moving up 6 places today. I think it's that finish that she had. I mean,
yeah.
She had her last bogey on hole 4, but then managed to shoot 5 down for the rest of the round. So really clean and steady golf. And we know how troublesome that middle to the end of this round can be. And that just sent her soaring as more and more scores started to rack up in the FPO second round.
Rebecca Cox's fate of the lead card versus chase card really comes to how she does here on hole 18. If she can take a birdie on 18, I think she can all but secure herself a spot on the lead card tomorrow.
You see the players making their way up, and kind of a marathon this hole 17. Paige Bjerkaas throwing a nice, finally a wide open shot for her. But it was a really nice upshot she threw. And it's tough to film these wooded shots. You never know where the throws are going to kick to or get hung up. And so it's tough for cameramen to get in a good position to really catch everything. So I think they're doing a great job out there. And we are happy to bring you this live coverage today. And here we have Paige Pierce. This is for birdie if she's able to hit it.
Stop missing high. It's not that far.
And there it is with a little bit of a slope. Hit off of the basket, rolling down the hill.
Yeah, that was not a good kick off the top of that basket. It looked like it caught edge. And then now she's got a little bit of work left to do after putting for that birdie here on hole 17.
Oh, you hate being in these positions. Birdie with a bogey possibly just looming over her shoulder.
Yeah, she has at least the same distance coming back, maybe even more. And she still has the slope to deal with. She's asking for the gallery and the rest of the group to hold still for a moment. This is at least the same distance, probably circle's edge. Oh, and she makes the comebacker.
Putt.
Wow, great putt there by Paige Pierce, who struggled early on in the round with her putting, seems to have settled in on these last few holes. And now here's Catrina Allen. This is for par for Catrina. Wow, and that looked maybe a little bit high and left, like it could have easily slid off the left side of the chains, but it does grab it and pull it in. And Catrina just remains one stroke behind Paige as they're moving into the final hole of the round.
Lisa tapped in her par. Paige Bjerkaas also with a par, so pars around. We're on to hole 18. Par 4, 600 feet. And as we can see from the course map and the drone flying, it's more of a dog leg setup shot. So it starts off with basically a 300-foot drive to clear that corner. You want to just throw a nice straight shot. This is the tunnel. This would be like the perfect landing zone, but you do have the low branches hanging as you throw your second shot, and the OB creeps in around the basket, left and right and behind. But we do have that keen wall that protects shots from flying too far, but if you do have a little height on it, it could possibly find its way there. Might see maybe possibly Paige and Catrina throwing the crush drive to get past even more right of where we see Jessica is, throwing out and around shot, throwing a big hyzer around, so you don't even have to go through that low ceiling. But we will find out. I've been wrong about 100 times before, so we'll just let the players throw the shots and we'll call them as we see them.
We see great staff and crew out there, a number of camera men, and yeah, just all of the media that's been working so tirelessly, both live and post-production. Thank you to everyone that's been part of that. Thank you to Jeff Spring, our tournament director, along with assistant tournament directors in Zoe Andike, Dustin Keegan, and the rest of the crew. Of course, this Disc Golf Pro Tour event, I know Seth Fenley was out here a few days ago helping set up the course. He said he had a number of helpers and volunteers assist him. So it's just been great to see. And then, of course, Nate and Val, who left your Bevel tap room area to come be here on site, on location for this event. And here is Catrina Allen. She sits one stroke behind Paige Pierce, who is our current leader.
Not a bad position. She's a little right. But we'll have an open stance, and it'll be interesting to see which route she goes for from there. Kind of the in-between zone.
Pierce with a full rip here, and a little bit more of that left center fairway, so to speak.
Yeah, I think she's going to have a nice look at the basket. This could be a tough one because you do have the left-hand side that is out of bounds. And you know that that's where the fairway ends up going, but it's really just, you need a straight shot off the tee. You don't even need to contend with the out of bounds, and Paige Bjerkaas does just that, and we will meet up with them in the fairway in just a minute.
I practice a lot. It's a vice. An escape from stress, from work. It's my chance to just get away during the week. It's like meeting up with an old friend, you know? I'll never get tired of that sound.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Terry Miller along with Val Jenkins. And Val, as our players are moving down hole 18, just a moment ago, we saw Rebecca Cox tap in to complete her round. We also saw Jessica Weiss. So as soon as we get the final details from UDisc, we'll pass those along. As I mentioned a moment ago, Rebecca Cox really could seal the deal as to whether or not she'll be on the lead card here tomorrow. But unfortunately, I'm not sure what the score was that she took just yet. What I do want to look at on UDisc is yesterday, this particular hole, 18, came in as the 15th most difficult hole, as in one of the easiest holes we find on the course. And it averaged exactly 4. That's funny. I was looking for a decimal point. It averaged 4 on the head. Today, in much nicer conditions, it's coming in as the 5th most difficult hole and averaging a half a stroke worse.
Interesting.
And I just find that I have no idea as to why that might be, but very interesting to note. Quite the inverse that we see here today.
Like, again, I'm over my disc. Hey, actually, look at this, Joe. There's a stick here, but it's like knocked down. There is a stick? Yeah, look at this, though. I didn't touch it, but like...
Where's your disc?
Right here.
Oh, wow.
So we're pulling that out, right?
Hold on.
Well, I'm saying that's the stick that's like...
Well, it's... Pick it up to where it should have been. You know what I mean? Like that.
Okay, so we're saying maybe I'll bring it in right here.
Where's the other one?
Oh, right there then. Yeah.
So I think it's out.
I'm right... Where did I go? Right here. Okay. I'm just going to mark it then over here and then take a shot. Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah, maybe I hit that steak.
So you just smoked it?
I needed the big steak, not the little one.
Looks like she was out of bounds, yo. Possibly. As Lisa getting her group over there. Again, it looks like some kind of group call needed to be made as to where the stakes were in relation to maybe the long grass. And then I think ultimately it was determined that she was out of bounds, if I understood all of that correctly. Is that what you took from that, Val, or no?
I don't know. That was confusing. But
Okay.
I do think that she was out of bounds, thinking that she hit the stake, flew into the tall grass. And so going for the sidearm route, full body power behind that. This is not a good position, but you really couldn't push it any more than that. So, yeah, that's that shot that I'm calling for off the tee. I mean, she really hung it a little bit to the left, bringing OB into play, changing those statistics on this hole for you, Terry.
Well, they are. And I'm also now noticed that Rebecca Cox takes the par. I said that if she had a birdie, she would guarantee herself a spot on this lead card tomorrow. And there's Paige throwing her second shot. But Rebecca took the par. That gives her a 2 down for the round. However, Madison Walker had a 4 down on the round, which will push her onto the lead card almost for sure, because Lisa Fajkus is looking at least at a bogey. So, yeah, this is all going to have, leader card implications for tomorrow as we watch Catrina with a high hyzer shot and very well executed.
It's one of the most fun things. You shoot a really great round like Madison did, and you just see the scores come in, and best thing to see is your name just climbing up the leaderboard. So she's put in all the work she needed to today. Her job is done, and so just waiting for the scores to come in. So it'll be interesting to see a little change up of who is on the lead card tomorrow. But take a look at this lie that Paige is at. She looked like she was going for that maybe past the tunnel to go around like we saw Catrina, but bringing it in a little bit too tight on that hyzer now pinches her up with this pine tree in front of her. Tough angle either way, but choosing the sidearm.
See if she gets a skip that she needs. She definitely gets the skip. Not sure it went forward enough. So she'll have a long look at birdie, but hopefully she'll at least walk away with the par if she doesn't convert on the birdie. And, well, it'll come down to see if she's either going to be in the lead or potentially tied for the lead, depending on what Catrina Allen does.
At this point, it's the two of them fighting for that win this weekend. Catrina has 3 strokes over third place, but just 1 back of Paige. Everybody is still in a tight battle. I mean, we saw Catrina give up 4 strokes on hole 11 to Paige. So if that's the truth, then it looks like Madison or Lisa could absolutely take the lead on any given hole. So this tournament is not written in the books just yet. 1 round to go. Lots of golf, lots of OB still ahead. And style points for Lisa
Yes.
on basically one of her last shots. She's got 1 more drop in to finish this round.
Yeah, so Lisa ultimately will walk away with the bogey here on the final hole as we're watching Paige Bjerkaas. Quickly watch her step putt, one of her signature moves. It's coming right at the basket from, and not quite the height that she needed there, and looked to be a little just off the mark. I'm kind of surprised even by that effort.
So look at this position Paige is in, just outside the circle. So it did skip plenty. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Can we get a replay on that one? Let's see this extension, because I think this is what Paige has been missing all round on those missed putts. Just fully committing to that putt. Great finish. Paige Pierce takes a birdie on this hole. You see Catrina. She was 1 stroke behind Paige, but if she capitalizes on this birdie, she's going to maintain that 1 stroke.
Oh, and no, the deficit will be actually 2 now. So as she goes up and not quite slam dunks it, but gives the pancake throw into the basket. Now this is Bjerkaas. This should be just easy cleanup for Paige Bjerkaas. And we will close things out here in a moment, talk a little bit about the scores and how things are changing around and what we're going to see tomorrow. Lisa takes her time and taps in. And wow, what a roller coaster that we saw here today. The most birdies that were carded by any woman out there today, the magic number, I believe, was 6. Paige Pierce had 6 birdies. Madison Walker had 6 birdies. So plenty of birdies to be had, but also almost every woman found their fair share of trouble out there, except for Madison. She stayed relatively clean throughout. She only had 2 bogeys and finished with that 4 under. So with all of that, and Paige carding 6 birdies, she's still just shot even on the round. So she started the day at 5 under.
Wow,
She
that's crazy.
she gets 6 birdies. She finishes the day with a little style points there on that final putt, but then finishes the day at even and still is at 5 under. So she has now a 2-stroke lead. Catrina Allen through 10 holes even made it look like she was going to pull herself away from the field, including Paige Pierce. She was playing so clean, and then hole 11 hit, and then hole 12 compounded that. So Paige extends her lead now to 2 strokes, taking a 2-stroke advantage over Catrina. Rebecca Cox also 1, 2, 3, looks like 6 birdies is the number, 5 or 6 birdies, finishes with even par, but moves on to the leaderboard. She moves up 2 positions, and Madison Walker, like we just mentioned, with the hot round in the FPO division, 4 under. So Val, do you have any final shot, any parting shots or words before I close things out here today?
You really recapped that round entirely, but it'll be fun to watch Paige and Kat battle it out again tomorrow. It'll be awesome to see Madison and Rebecca Cox. They shot amazing rounds today. I'm excited to see how they play out this course and how those rounds come together. So it's going to be an exciting round tomorrow. I mean, I think players at this point, they just need to clean up those bogeys.
Yeah.
There's so many birdie opportunities, but again, with so much OB out there, you can really get into trouble. And Paige and Kat, they found their fair share of trouble and kind of handed strokes just back and forth and back and forth. So the battle is on. These ladies are here to play. 1 round to go. It's going to be a good one.
It certainly is. And you just mentioned cleaning up some of those bogey strokes. I think that's definitely part of the key ingredient for tomorrow. And then we'll see if they can maybe take advantage of some of even the easier holes. I think back to the elevated basket on hole 6, and we were expecting 3, maybe even 4 birdies. And today, only 2 were taken. And so a hole like that, you know, some of those must gets, that's why that term comes about, is because you have to get that to remain competitive with the field. And then we'll see who can get some of those bonus birdies that we kind of expect from Kat and Paige. Well, there we have it again. Tomorrow's lead card, Paige Pierce sits at 5 under. She has a 2-stroke advantage over Catrina. Catrina sits with a 3-stroke advantage over Madison Walker, along with Rebecca Cox. They're at even. It's going to be a great battle, and it's going to unfold all right here at 9 a.m. on the Pacific time zone. I think that's noonish or so, Eastern time zone. Figure it out everywhere else in between. But we invite you back. Thank you for joining us so much today. This has been the second round of the Portland Open. Thank you to Discraft, along with Bevel, and our live coverage supporting sponsor in Dynamic Disc. For Valerie Jenkins, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, we'll see you tomorrow when you step inside the Smash Box.